It's afternoon baseball from Wrigley Field. We're back at the friendly confines to conclude this four-game series in Chicago. D-backs today can take 3 of 4 before moving on to San Diego this weekend. Glad you're with us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the D-backs and the Cubs on Fox Sports Arizona. Good morning from Wrigley Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. We've once again got perfect afternoon baseball weather for this series finale today. Your pitching matchup, Tyler Chatwood goes for Chicago. And for the D-backs, it's Zach Godley on the mound and Alex Avila behind the plate. And there's certainly not a match set, not yet anyway. But, Bob, the analytics have turned up some very encouraging trends with Godley and Avila.
Yeah, the pairing seems to be working very well for Zach Godley when Alex Avila is behind the plate. There's no easy way to explain why guys hit it off like they do. You think back to Tim McCarver catching Steve Carlton. End of my career, I was Mike Kruko's valet catcher. Well, Alex Avila has done an outstanding job with Zach Godley on the mound. The ERA of .292, opponent's batting average of .225. You can see the numbers with all other catchers behind the plate for Zach.
Yeah, it's not a valet catcher situation, certainly not yet, but the numbers are very encouraging. It's just kind of cropped up this way.
Well, and you know, this is why we keep track of all these numbers, because sometimes things will rear their head and tell you, hey, this is a matchup we have to stick with. Zach Godley, Jeff Mathis comes to mind.
Well, after the ball game yesterday, the Diamondbacks made a move. Matt Andriese, a right-hand reliever, is here from Tampa Bay in exchange for a pair of minor leaguers.
Yeah, Matt Andriese, a guy, a right-handed pitcher that has tremendous numbers against left-handed hitters, some of the best numbers in all of baseball. Lefties have hit only 174 against him. He's been a starter. He's been a reliever in 23 relief appearances this year. He's gone 2 or more innings 16 times, so gives Torrey a little bit of length out of the bullpen as well.
And unfortunately, to make room on the roster, Randall Delgado designated for assignment. More on Matt Andriese when we come back from Chicago right after this. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
Field, as we are just moments away from first pitch, game 4 of the series, the Cubs and the Diamondbacks on Fox Sports Arizona. I'm Todd Walsh back here on the field just outside the Arizona Diamondbacks dugout. As Steve and Bob just mentioned just moments ago, a trade consummated yesterday, Arizona and Tampa. It became official while the Diamondbacks team buses were making their way through rush hour traffic back to the team hotel. But there again is the story. Matt Andrews coming over, the former roommate of Brad Boxberger in Tampa, and also part of the Boxberger deal with San Diego. You see the news on Randall Delgado. And earlier today at about 8 o'clock in the morning back in Arizona, I had a chance to catch up with the newest Arizona Diamondback. Well, Matt, welcome. This is kind of a whirlwind, isn't it?
It is. It's been a lot the last 2 days, but you know, I'm here and I'm looking forward to the.
When did you find out?
Found out after our game yesterday. Was about to get on the plane for Baltimore and got called in the office and got the good news. So I'm happy to be here.
It's always fascinating to me to talk to someone that's been traded in pro sports, because there are two sides to it, but the one side that seems most compelling to you right here is somebody wanted you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to helping this team compete and make a playoff push for sure.
What do you see your role as?
I've done a little bit of everything. I've started, relieved, more of like that swingman type thing. So, I just want to go out there and throw some good quality innings, whatever it may be, just to help the club out.
Tell me about left-handers. How do you get them? How do you attack them? You've got good numbers.
Yeah, I mean, curveballs early, just good fastball command, and throw my changeup. Yeah, can't give away all my secrets. So.
Thought I'd start early. All right, you got to tell me about your old roommate who happens to be the closer around here, Brad Boxberger. What's your relationship like with him?
That was good. I mean, we were together in San Diego, got traded over to Tampa. We were roommates for 2-3 years in Tampa, and every spring training, so going to, with his family, and grew up with his kids, so it's good to be reunited. What
do you know about this group, this team, the leadership, manager Torey Lovullo? What have you heard?
I've heard nothing but good things. Box kind of clued me in a little bit. Souza as well, played with him in Tampa. So, yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm looking forward to starting the journey.
Are you living out of a suitcase though for a little bit?
Definitely, that's the plan until further notice. There we go.
Welcome.
Thank you.
The newest Arizona Diamondback, controllable years, a big part of the equation for this franchise. Certainly the fact that he can start or relieve, as Steve and Bob were talking about, but Torey Lovullo saying today for the very beginning of his stint here, certainly coming out of the bullpen. That is the immediate plan for him. But General Manager Mike Hazen telling several publications yesterday that the Diamondbacks are continuing to look for help to the bullpen. Nothing is imminent according to him, but the phones are clearly hot as we approach the trade deadline. So that'll do it from here down at field level. We'll take a short break from Wrigley Field, and when we return, guess what? It's time to go. First pitch is coming up. Steve and Bob have the call. Fourth and final game, matinee baseball, Arizona and Chicago, and it's next.
To you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free jumbo jacks only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By First Watch Restaurants, the Daytime Cafe. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. Oh, where do we sign up for this weather? We know it's hot back home. Nice here at Wrigley Field. Enjoy it with us. Zach Godley and Tyler Chatwood, the D-backs and the Cubs, coming up next. Field, 79 degrees here at Wrigley. Welcome in, Steve Berthew, Bob Renly, Todd Walsh with you. The finale of this 4-game series, the D-backs and the Chicago Cubs. D-backs a chance to take 3 of 4 before it's on to San Diego for 3 games over the weekend. And they begin today only a half game off the Dodgers National League West lead. Rockies a game and a half behind LA. Giants are 4.5 back. As the bullpen awaits the arrival of Zach Godley. Let's take a look at T-Mobile, built for baseball last night. Astros in Colorado. Charlie Blackmon's first ever walk-off homer, and the Rockies beat Houston.
Answer me this. How do the Houston Astros go to Coors Field and get held to 1 hit?
That is amazing, isn't it? It's good pitching. Colin McHugh serves it up, so the Rockies got a dramatic win, and this is where things stand right now as Zach Godley comes out of the bullpen and gets set to take the mound here in Chicago. So it's a half game for the D-backs, game and a half for Colorado. Giants 4.5 back. The Dodgers play at Atlanta later tonight. The Rockies are off. They'll host Oakland tomorrow, and the Giants are home tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Going to have to start figuring out who we need to root for and who we need to root against every day with the wild card in the division. A lot involved, a lot of moving parts.
Well, a good rule of thumb is it's always great when the Dodgers lose,
always,
regardless of any pennant race.
Or whatever team you're on. It's always a good thing.
And the other team to keep an eye on is probably, if you're looking at the wild card picture, the Milwaukee Brewers. We could end up neck and neck with Milwaukee if you're looking at a wild card scenario.
And we were talking last night about the Brewers and the Cubs. They have 6 games in the last 3 weeks of the month of September, which could turn out to be 6 huge games for this National League Central.
Well, this is a big one for the D-backs. It would be great to take 3 of 4 from these first-place Chicago Cubs. And here's the lineup for Torey Lovullo today. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealer.
David Peralta once again leading it off out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt playing first base. A.J. Pollock will be out in center field. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. Jake Lamb getting the nod at third base today with Daniel Descalso at second. Nick Ahmed at short. Alex Avila behind the plate for right-hander Zach Godley.
Big smiles from Torey Lovullo, who celebrated his 53rd birthday yesterday. What is your Valley Honda dealer's key to the game?
Well, we're going to show you some numbers for Tyler Chatwood later on, but this is a guy that has trouble finding the strike zone consistently. And hitting coaches, when you face a pitcher like that, they'll tell you to keyhole. One pitch, one zone. If you don't get it, don't swing at it. Chances are he's going to throw you 4 balls before he throws you 3 strikes, but be ready to hit that one strike that you're looking for right there in the keyhole.
Like you're peeking through a keyhole through a door?
That's how big your strike zone should be, at least up until 2 strikes against Tyler Chatwood today.
Well, as we showed you a moment ago, it's not very hot or humid here. Very comfortable 79 degrees. So hopefully Zach Godley can go deep into the ball game. Zach has been pretty good lately. We expect good things here today against Tyler Chatwood, who's, as you mentioned, had some issues.
Yeah, ideally Zach gets deep into the ball game today, but the good news is because Zach Greinke, Patrick Corbin, Clay Buchholz, Robbie Ray last night, the starting pitching has been getting deep into the ball game, so that bullpen is rested and ready to go.
And it's been a great turn through the rotation, and now Zach Godley gets the baton here against the Cubs, who lead the National League Central by 2.5 over those Brewers. 59 wins, the most in the National League, and now the Cubs take the field. Your Ram truck starter for Chicago is the right-hander Tyler Chatwood, his first season here after a long time with Colorado. And look at these numbers. Chatwood this year has walked more batters than any pitcher in baseball. In fact, he's got more walks than strikeouts.
89 in the 3rd innings pitched, 79 walks. Somehow he's managed to pitch around a lot of those walks. The opponent's average of only 238. He has surrendered 8 home runs, but man, be patient. Make sure you get a pitch you want to hit.
Or take your base. We might see a lot of that here today. A look around the diamond at the Cubs defense is brought to you by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Jason Hayward out in right field. Albert Almora Jr. will be in center field. Kyle Schwarber in left. Ian Happ getting the start at third base today with Addison Russell and David Bodie making up the double play combination. Anthony Rizzo at first base. Wilson Contreras behind the plate, and right-hander Tyler Chatwood on the mound.
Bodie just called up today. They had to put Chris Bryant back on the DL with that shoulder problem. Mike Estabrook calling the balls and strikes. He's our plate umpire today. The crew chief Mark Carlson's at first base. Bruce Dreckman is the second base umpire, and Chad Fairchild is at third.
Yeah, sad day for Mark Carlson. I mentioned in the first game of the series, born and raised over in Joliet, Illinois. This is about as close as he gets to his hometown, but after tonight, he'll be on the road just like the rest of us.
It is a vagabond existence sometimes. There's Dave McKay coaching at first, Tony Perez-Chica at third for the Diamondbacks. I can't believe it's almost August, and after this we make our first trip this year to Petco Park to see the Padres.
How about that? We've been to LA twice. We've been to San Francisco a couple of times, but haven't been to LA yet.
So San Diego next.
San Diego, excuse me.
First we wrap up in Chicago. David Peralta, 288, 16 home runs, will lead it off.
And there's a slight chance that the Cubs might be looking ahead to their big weekend series down in St. Louis this weekend.
Yes. And that's a beautiful postcard picture right there. We really lucked out with the weather, so stay inside, stay cool with us, and enjoy some D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. And right away, Tyler Chatwood starts with a ball. That might become a recurring theme. David has 4 hits in the series, all singles. Chatwood works from way over there on the third base side of the rubber.
One of those modified stretch wind-up things. It looks like he's in the stretch position right now, but he takes that short step back with the left foot and goes into his wind-up. Good start.
Peralta sends one the other way, a base hit into left field. So David now with a 5-game hitting streak. Here comes Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt, 279. He leads the D-backs with 22 homers and 54 RBIs. That 911 OPS is 6th best in the National League. Whoa. Tyler Chadwood has enough trouble throwing strikes.
And we mentioned Wilson Contreras, the first game of this series. He's not exactly the best pitch framer in all of baseball. He was set up on the inside part of the plate for Goldie, reached out and caught what appeared to be a strike, but because he was reaching, he didn't get the call.
This is popped up behind second. Bodie, the rookie. AJ homered here yesterday, his 13th of the year.
You get the feeling if you're going to homer here at Wrigley Field today, it's going to have to be to right field. That wind is blowing pretty stiff across from the left field corner to the right field corner. Might help fly balls to right, but certainly going to knock them down to left.
Yeah, it is. You can see it is gusting out there. 4 games, 4 different wind directions. AJ 3 hits, couple of RBIs in the series. He homered yesterday against John Lester. That was the last pitch of the ball game Lester threw to lead off the 7th and tied it at 1. D-backs ended up losing the ball game yesterday 2-1. John Lester, as Contreras throws down there again, was upset that the ball went out because the analytics guys told him it was a 42-degree launch angle off the bat of A.J. Pollock, way up in the air, and it got into the wind, which is blowing in the opposite direction in which it's blowing right now.
Well, the only person he can be upset with is Mother Nature. I mean, A.J. took advantage of that strong wind that was blowing out to left yesterday, cast that ball high in the air. Schwarber looked like he was camped under it a couple of different times, but it got out of here.
Here's the 1-0.
Hey, how about this for Tyler Chatwood? In 18 starts this year, in the first inning, he's allowed 21 hits and 17 walks.
Boy, it's hard to find any kind of rhythm or tempo when you're in trouble out of the gate nearly every start. There's Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, on the right with Joe Madden. Joe Madden, as you pointed out, was eviscerated.
Woo.
I mean, absolutely wiped out by a Chicago columnist today in one of the newspapers. Apparently not happy that Joe Madden has led them to a World Series and currently has them in first place.
Yeah, he said he has a massive ego, the greatest showman, loves himself in the spotlight. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Manager Madden has an insatiable need for attention.
Absolute hack job in the paper today on Madden. Hard to imagine what the issue is exactly. The Cubs with more wins than any other team in the league, but everybody's got a World Series ring on. But you can't make everybody happy all the time. So they're up 2.5 on Milwaukee, 7 clear of the Pirates. How quickly they forget.
Oh, it's been almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Come on.
That was just a hatchet job, man. That one sailed. Contreras throws down there again.
Well, so far we've seen a pitch hit about 8 feet out in front of home plate, and Contreras picked it first. We just saw a pitch up over the head of A.J. Pollock, and Contreras picked that first again, anticipating that David Peralta might take an extra step when he sees that ball in the dirt or sees a high pitch, and Contreras is going to try to pick guys off base whenever he can.
2-2.
Oh, that got him.
Yes, it did. 2 on and 1 out for Souza.
Didn't sound like solid contact, but enough to send AJ down to first base. Ooh, that actually hit the knob of the bat. Oh boy.
Hit by pitch is subject to review. A little early to burn a challenge maybe, but Joe's trying to get somebody's attention down there.
Trying to get Mark Carlson's attention. I think the Cubs want to take a look at that.
And Joe has to go out and talk to Chad Fairchild at third. Carlson, the crew chief, is over at first. And they will challenge the hit by pitch.
Well, on the one look we've had so far, unfortunately, I think the Cubs have a real good case on this one. Umpires are going to get together first of all to see if anybody had a look at it, and apparently nobody had a definitive look, so they will go to the replay.
Madden checking in again with the umpires as they drag the headsets out.
Yeah, I just think you probably would have seen a little more of a reaction from AJ if that ball clipped him in the hand or pinched his hand against the handle of the bat.
There's another look.
Initially, I thought it might have caught that elbow guard in the front right there, but it misses that cleanly. And ooh, looks like all knob.
That's a foul ball. He fouled it off the knob of the bat into the mid. There were 2 strikes when the ball hit the knob of the bat. As you saw, Contreras held on to the foul tip. So this might really go south on the Diamondbacks if they get this overturned.
This is just another ploy by Joe Madden to draw attention to himself.
Well, it's all about Joe. That's what I read in the paper this morning. He's so busy texting the lineup every day to Eddie Vedder that he can't concentrate on what he's doing. At least that's what it says in the paper. So it's got to be true.
This is taking a lot longer than I thought. Pretty definitive in the replays we've seen, but as we say every time, New York has different angles than we're subject to, and maybe there's something that they see that we don't.
Yeah, the look we had was fairly definitive, but they have more looks in New York than we have access to here. You look at these reviews enough, you can convince yourself of anything. It's a foul tip, and he strikes out. So that really went south on the Diamondbacks very quickly.
David Peralta's trying to stay out there at second base. I don't believe that's going to float either.
Maybe nobody will notice.
Run to third. Who knows?
So Peralta at first. 2 down for Steven Souza Jr., hitting .232 with 1 home run. Steven 0 for 4 yesterday, had 3 hits in the win here Tuesday night. Got another Tampa Bay Ray former teammate with Matt Andriese added to the bullpen yesterday. D-backs and Rays have done a lot of business in the last year or so. Rays, Souza, and Boxberger added over the winter, and now Andriese comes yesterday. That one caught the corner down and in. Sinker from Chatwood. It's 1-2. Tyler Chatwood has always been a guy who struggles with bases on balls. In the past with Colorado, he'd average around 4 or 5 walks for every 9 innings pitched. But this year, 8 walks per 9 innings, or basically double his walk rate from 2 years ago. Foul ground, first base side for Rizzo. Well, it looked like it might turn into a big inning for the D-backs. Zach Godley coming up from Wrigley Field. North side of town, D-backs and Cubs. For your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks is the right-hander Zach Godley. 11 wins, only 1 loss in his last 8 starts. And with Zach, as we know, it's not always a work of art, but certainly more often than not, it's been effective.
Had a streak of 3 starts in a row, walking only 1 batter in each one of those starts. Walked 4 last time out against the Colorado Rockies. Hopefully he'll be able to find that zone early here today.
Cubs lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Anthony Rizzo leading off once again, playing first base. Albert Almora Jr. will be out in center field. Jason Hayward in right. Wilson Contreras doing the catching. Ian Happ will be at third base. Kyle Schwarber in left. Addison Russell at short. Tyler Chatwood, the pitcher, batting 8th. And David Bodie, the second baseman, batting 9th.
Shift is on against Rizzo. Back in the leadoff spot. There's the strike. Anthony Rizzo playing career game number 1,000 today. 257 and 12 home runs. Can't keep that one fair. It's 0-2. StatCast AI powered by AWS, and that's why the shift is on against Rizzo. It's been actually a pretty quiet series for Rizzo. 1 for 11. He's walked and struck out 3 times. He did drive in the Cubs' only run in Monday's series opener. Zach Godley, as always. Torey Lovullo looking for Zach to stay in control of his delivery. Looking for fastball command, looking to land that curveball for strikes. Often enough to keep the Cubs hitters honest. Albert Almora Jr., the league's leading hitter, is on deck. 2-2 on Rizzo. Swing and a miss. He got him. Good start for Godley. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense today.
A.J. Pollock out in center field. David Peralta in left. Steven Souza Jr. in right. When you're the visiting team and play outfield here at Wrigley, you get a lot of help from those fans behind you.
Good thing.
Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed will be on the left side of the infield. Daniel Descalso, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side, with Alex Avila doing the catching for right-hander Zach Godley.
Here's Almora, 320, tops in the National League. He's got 4 home runs.
You're talking about Rizzo and the lack of power. It's been like 10 days, maybe close to 2 weeks since he's been in that leadoff spot. He hasn't hit a home run in over a month.
Anthony Rizzo has homered only once in his last 37 games. And during that stretch, his slugging is actually less than his on-base percentage.
Wow.
So he's been getting on base in the leadoff spot. It's been 11 games now, but he's not been the 30 home run guy he's been the last 4 years. Godley behind on Almora 2-0. In the hole, that's by Lamb, backhanded by Nick Ahmed. What a play! Well, you know, Nick wanted to atone for that throwing error late in the ball game yesterday. How about that one?
Well, he has made some amazing defensive plays in this series. We'll give him a hall pass on the throwing error last night on that attempted double play. Is covering so much ground, the off-balance throws, running over toward the third baseline, back across his body, right on the money to Goldie for the out.
There's not many that do it better than Nick at shortstop.
And that's how you end up winning Gold Gloves. When you put on a performance like Nick has in this series in front of the writers. There's a bunch of writers here that are voting the various awards at the end of the season. A lot of eyes on Nick in this series.
More beat writers probably than columnists anyway. Here's Jason Hayward. 284 and 7 homers.
He just does it to draw attention to himself.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Zach working from the far first base side of the rubber against the left-hand hitting Hayward here. Godley falling behind in the count. That sinker got away. It's 2-0. Hayward, couple of hits in the series. He homered Tuesday night. Bounce to second. Descalso's there, and Zach Godley works a 1-2-3 first. We're at Wrigley Field. 11 pitches, 3 outs for Godley, no score. Score as we start the second inning. Season tickets for 2019 already on sale right now. And you can secure the best seats for the lowest price and lock-in benefits, including postseason priority, access to player events, discounts on D-backs merchandise, and a whole lot more. Get your 2019 season tickets right now. 602-462-4600 or log on to dbacks.com/tickets. Jake Lamb leads off the second against Tyler Chatwood. Cubs will put the shift on against Jake. 223 and 6 homers. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
That's 2 that Mike Estabrook has inexplicably missed. I mean, wow. I know it's bright out there and stuff, but whoa. Both in the D-backs' favor. one's Ebenezer strike, 1-1. That's weird, wild stuff.
It is. As far as the stuff that Tyler Chatwood has out there on the mound, you'll see 3 different fastballs, a 4-seamer, a cutter, an occasional sinker. He's got a curveball and a changeup, but he throws a lot of fastballs. They move in different directions, but very near the same velocity.
You know, we've made a lot of it. He's walked more guys than any pitcher in baseball, but the remarkable part about Tyler Chatwood's control, as you look at the Cubs defense, it doesn't seem to create that many problems for the Cubs. And he's not able to check. In Chatwood's last 9 starts, Chicago's won 7 times, including each of the last 4. So, you know, like he says, look, if you walk them and they don't score, it's not really relevant. That's how he looks at it. Here's Descalso.
A good point, I guess. And, you know, for the guys playing behind him and the offensive players in the Cubs lineup, I think when Tyler Chatwood's on the mound, they know it's going to be that kind of a game. They know there's going to be traffic on the bases, and they know they're probably going to have to score some runs to win.
That's a strike. Descalso at second. Day off for Ketel Marte. That one is into right center field. A base hit for Daniel. Second hit for the Diamondbacks. A 1-out single brings up Nick Ahmed. Nick hitting .230, 12 homers. A couple of singles and an RBI in the series. This is low, 1-0.
A lot of fans still filing in here to Wrigley Field. They had to go to work and then fake like they were sick so they could come out here to Wrigley and watch a ball game this afternoon.
Is that how it works? Another glorious day here. Remember last year, that one shatters the bat. Last year we were here for that rain delay marathon when Goldie hit the 3 homers. That was in early August last season.
We talk about those cupped bats all the time where they take a little bit of weight out of the end of the bat, and it literally looks like a cup at the very end of the bat, and that time it caught the back end of that cup and split the bat right down the barrel. I remember when those cup bats first came out. I mean, that was quite a phenomenon. Everybody wanted a cupped bat. That sounds like a good idea. Sure, take a little weight out of the end, redistribute the weight down in the barrel where you want it.
Popped up. Contreras giving it a look. Another bright sky here, but it's behind the screen. Oh no! Is everybody all right? Don't hit the man bun.
Unfortunately, it just it hit the little carrying case right there.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Yeah,
They gave the
very
gentleman
nice.
the souvenir baseball while he's working.
I'll make you a trade. I'll give you the ball for a beverage.
Exactly.
How's that? Boom.
Oh! Dude, there's a beverage here. Nice work.
Anybody want some beers?
Chatwood talked all about the walks. He's got 3 strikeouts so far through 7 batters.
And our key to the game was to keyhole against Tyler Chatwood today, and we haven't seen that so far. Diamondbacks have expanded their zone a couple times already in this ball game, chasing pitches well out of the zone.
And Chatwood's only thrown a first pitch strike to 1 of the first 7 batters he's faced. So he's bouncing back and getting the strikeout to put the shift on for Avila now, batting 148 with 4 home runs. Descalso at first, 2 outs. Alex singled, struck out twice in his start Tuesday night. Spent the second half of last year here at Wrigley Field as a Cub. Played just 35 games in Chicago after his deadline move from Detroit. Change-up sales on Chatwood, 1-1.
Well, you mentioned earlier, partner, 4 games here at Wrigley Field, 4 different wind directions. This is the kind of day it may change direction during the course of an at-bat. It was blowing strongly out to right field as the game got underway. Then in that last half inning, it kind of slowed down, looked like it was going to stop completely, and now it's galing out to right field again.
That'll work for Alex if he can get one up in the air. Curveball missed there. It's 2-2. Godley, the pitcher, would be next. Yeah, it's blowing right at one of those relatively new scoreboards, this one in the right field corner. Right on the corner, but he just missed. It's full 3-2. He's picking away with that cutter.
Mike Estabrook doesn't look like he wants to call anything at the top of the zone today. He's missed a couple of pitches up there.
Rizzo backs off at first now, playing behind the runner Descalso. 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here it is. There goes Daniel. That's ball 4. First walk for Chatwood.
It's his first 3-ball count in a game. This is some kind of a record, I believe.
Well, you know, it's funny. Despite his control problems, Chatwood beat the Cardinals here at Wrigley Field over the weekend. He walks 6 guys in less than 6 innings in that start, but gave up only 1 run, 1 hit. Like he said, if you walk them, they don't score, no big deal. Here's Godley.
And obviously, if you're walking a lot of guys like Chatwood does, that pitch count gets up there. He's 3 starts removed from a career high 120 pitch effort. That was in 5 2/3 innings.
Wow. Look out. He's starting to lose it here. Contreras out to burn a mound visit. Chatwood has walked at least 5 batters in a start 10 times this year. His high for the season is 7 walks, and he's done that twice. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, looking for answers.
He's had 1 start with only 1 walk. That was his second one of the year, a 5-inning outing against the Pirates. That was an 8-5 Cubs loss, but he only walked 1 batter in that game.
Oh, got that one in there close enough. 2-1. That one a little further outside. Fastball missed, and Godley's ahead 3 balls and a strike. Didn't have a 3-ball count. Now he's had back-to-back 3-ball counts. Here's the 3-1. Zach taking his cut.
Boy, boy, boy.
Yeah, that was ball 4.
Yeah, I want the hitters to keyhole, and I expect Zach Godley to do the same.
Here it is. Runners will be on the move. There they go. And Godley got a fastball in, fouled it on.
Better hack that time. Pitch in the strike zone.
Kind of falls out of the batter's box the way he falls off the mound. Chatwood already approaching 40 pitches, trying to get out of this second inning. Runners on the move, and that's ball 4. He walked the 8 and 9 batters, and now they're loaded for the leadoff man Peralta.
Cattell Marte playing cheerleader here this afternoon, at least at the beginning of the ball game. Daniel Descalso getting the start at second base. He likes that ball forward to the pitcher.
David, an opposite field single to lead off the game. Bases full, 2 outs. Boy, it'd be nice for David to get one up into that wind right now. It is howling out to the right field corner. Chatwood and Contreras just can't get together. And there goes another mound visit.
We like to call these Contrerases.
He's the reason why the rule was put into place, maybe. The postseason was at times painful because Contreras needed a mound visit after every pitch.
Especially with the runner at second base, it got to the point where they weren't even giving signs. They were just running out to the mound, telling the pitcher what to throw, and then going back behind the plate.
Worried about the video. Fastball's up, 1-0. The balls are starting to pile up for Chatwood.
Boy, when you get a count in your favor, that's when you keyhole even more. What is my dream home run pitch? Ooh, that might have been it for David right there. 95 down and in.
On the ground is second. Bodie makes a tremendous play. There's the rookie, David Bodie. Saves at least a run, likely 2. He stays scoreless in Chicago. Fans plan now to catch the D-backs and these Cubs at Chase Field in September. Cubbies will be in town for a 3-game set. September 17th, 18th, and 19th. Don't miss this, the D-backs and the Cubs at Chase Field. You can get your tickets right now at dbacks.com. And the discussion is ongoing here with the D-back skipper.
Yeah, we've seen this several times this year. You know, some new rules in the game, some new procedures, as you mentioned, and Torrey just wants to make sure he knows exactly what the rules are, what the procedure is as we move forward in this season.
And a lot of times he wants to approach the umpires about whatever comes up in the way that they want to be approached. So oftentimes he'll ask, what's the best way to get your attention, or how do I ask you this particular question if this comes up? He's always filing that kind of stuff away. There's Wilson Contreras, the Cubs catcher, leads off the second against Zach Godley. Contreras 1 for 8 with a single. He's punched out 4 times in the series. Batting cleanup today. That one right at today's first strike, 1-1.
Nice curveball right there. Drop that one right at the knees.
That's a biggie. Establish that you will throw that for strikes, and then you can get them to chase the ones that you put in the dirt on purpose.
There comes another one.
And Contreras knocks it into center. First hit for the Cubs.
You talk about commanding that curveball, being able to throw it for strikes when you want to. However, in that 1-2 count, that's where you really want to keep it below the bottom of the strike zone, possibly even in the dirt. Aggressive hitter like Contreras is likely to chase that curveball down.
Third baseman is Ian Happ. 256 and 12 homers. He's doubled and walked twice in the series. D-backs have the shift on. That one's fouled back. Joe Maddon said yesterday he was just waiting to hear from the doctors as to when Chris Bryant might be cleared to play. The Cubs hoping some rest would help Bryant avoid a second stint on the disabled list, but he had to go back on the DL today. He had just recently missed a few weeks with a left shoulder inflammation, and it flared up again Monday against the Diamondbacks. So Bryant is once again on the shelf. Happ at third. Bodie brought up to play second, deep to center, and AJ runs it down. One out for Kyle Schwarber. For 5 in this series. He's walked and struck out twice. Looking down at third base coach Brian Butterfield. I would think with the way this wind is blowing and with an aggressive swinger like Schwarber, Zach's got to be real careful right here. There's a hit and run. Contreras off with a pitch. Schwarber sends it into right. Butterfield stops Contreras at third. He's going to run through the side, and he's in there. Wilson Contreras comes all the way around from first on a single by Schwarber.
Looked like a hit and run. Contreras looking back to home plate the entire time as he was breaking for second base. Right there, the throw gets over Descalso all the way to Nick Ahmed at second base. Better throw may get him at home plate right there, but a throw to the cutoff man would held him at third base.
Butterfield had the brakes on. He saw how far down the line he was at third, but a hustling play by Contreras makes it 1-0 Chicago. Here's the shortstop Addison Russell. And now Schwarber takes off. They're running on Godley. A terrific stop by Lamb at third. This may have something to do with what we saw from Zach Godley last week when he had some apparent issues throwing to the bases, and the Cubs getting very aggressive here against Godley in the second inning.
Either that or Joe Maddon's just tired of waiting for his power to show up in this lineup and is going to get some runners started, try to open some holes in the defense, and so far the last couple of batters it's seemingly working.
So Schwarber the RBI single. Russell's ground out moves him to second. 2 down for the pitcher Chatwood.
Yeah, Diamondbacks pitching has been so good in this series against the Cubs here at Wrigley. That's only the 5th run the Cubs have scored in this series.
Yeah, the D-backs won Monday 7-1. They won Tuesday 5-1. Lost yesterday 2-1. Zach falling off the mound. Nice block back there by Avila. Yanked that cutter, and it's 2-0.
Well, we talked a little bit about the trade for Matt Andriese from the Tampa Rays. And if Zach continues to struggle, if he continues to have problems throwing to the bases, that's a possibility. We mentioned he's been a starter, he's been a reliever, he classifies himself as a swing man. It's nice to have an option just in case.
Well, there were a few uncomfortable moments with Zach throwing to the bases against Colorado. That was Saturday at Chase Field. He really only made one bad throw. He said simply a case of him rushing and not setting his feet. But he did appear other times to hesitate making a throw. Torey Lovullo said he was only minimally concerned. No worries about Godley throwing to the bag. He's fallen behind on the pitcher, 3-1.
Now, the one that really caught me by surprise was Ian Desmond at first, Trevor Story at third, and Desmond took a huge lead when Godley didn't throw over there. He just took off for second base. Zach stepped off the rubber, had plenty of time to throw him out at second base, but just held on to the baseball.
Falling off the mound awkwardly that time, and he walks the pitcher. And so a run is in, 2 on and 2 out. Here's the rookie David Bodie, who made a tremendous play at second to snuff out a D-backs bases loaded opportunity in the top half of this inning. Bodie recalled from AAA Iowa today when Bryant went back on the DL with that left shoulder problem. He's played 20 games with the Cubs. Schwarber, the runner at second, the pitcher Chatwood at first, 2 outs. I'm going to label it as ironic that the guy who leads the majors in walks was just walked. Tyler Chatwood. Nice work by our staff here.
Good
guys
pull.
are thinking.
Good pull.
That's a tough call. Going with irony there. Good pitch from Godley. Jumps ahead of Bodie, 0-2. That cutter just caught the corner for a strike down and away.
Yeah, David Bodie, one of those guys, if you look at his minor league numbers, the first 5 years as a Cub farmhand, he didn't hit for much power. He didn't steal bases. He carried a respectable average, but last year in Tennessee, he hit 14 home runs, went to the Arizona Fall League, showed more power. And when asked about it, he said, it's just putting myself in better situations to attack pitches. First ball fastball pitcher, he's ready to hit a first ball fastball. It gets a 2-0 count in his favor. He's ready to turn on something. He said it has nothing to do with launch angle or changing his swing. It's just his mental approach at the plate, looking for pitches to drive in certain situations. And Joe Madden said this was the best player he had in spring training this year. So
how about that?
He's been on that shuttle back and forth between AAA a couple of times this year, but it's not going to be too far off in the future where David Bodie's an everyday guy here.
Reaches out and hits a tapper to third. Lamb charges, makes a nice play, and they just do get Bodie at first. But the Cubs take the early lead. D-backs trail at 1-0.
It's always the sequel's usually not as good as the first one. So hopefully we can rest on last year's antics and just talk about that one forever.
It won't be Godfather 2. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you. Steve Bradley and Andrew Chafin, the start of this series, guys, talking about the rain delay a year ago. I'm Todd Walsh, by the way. Welcome back to Wrigley Field. And I, like most of the rest of the free world, got a chance to watch this online.
It's our Cricket Wireless something to smile about. The bullpen antics from last year's rain delay here.
Yeah, and Steve, your call of it, and Bob, your analysis of it will live forever.
In infamy.
In infamy as well.
How about Chafin calf roping Humberto Quintero?
That's just...
And time.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that was what Andrew Chafin was all about out in the bullpen, as I tried to describe. And
I tell you what, Chafin is a funny dude, man.
Yeah.
He is really funny.
He ripped the camera out of my cameraman just at the conclusion of the pregame show, sending our director Brian Moss into orbit.
Well, that doesn't take much.
That's true. But I told those guys, hey, I never say this. I would never, ever root for a rain delay. That's just not in my DNA. But I was sort of thinking maybe if we got one, it'd be cool to see a sequel. And,
no.
But I guess
no.
I think we probably should just.
We will take this
let it be.
weather we've had. It's been greatly blessed. Goldie leads off the third against Tyler Chatwood. D-backs down 1-0.
I'm pretty sure that game is archived somewhere if you want to see it that badly, Tom.
Yeah,
I'm good.
You can stay back here. I tell you what, after this one, you stay here. You watch the entire game, commercials, rain delays, and then you figure out a way to get to Chicago.
In San Diego, in real time.
San Diego. We'll get you on a bus.
No, I'll be right next to you in rush hour traffic with hopefully a police escort.
How about that yesterday, by the way? How did you ever do this for 8 years?
That's the thing. This was a great place to come to work for 8 years. Great fans, great energy. But the saddest part of my day is when the game ended.
Oh.
I live 2 miles from Wrigley Field. It'd take me an hour and 15 minutes to get home some nights.
We sat on Lakeshore Drive on the bus. Man, you talk about crawling.
Ugh.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's lovely. It's a beautiful day. The lake is right there off to your left and the skyline, but man, you just don't move.
There was a woman walking her dog. I swear we drove by her like 5 times, and the dog aged. Did you see that? By the 5th time, and it had white hair on its nose. It was limping.
We measured the drive back to the hotel in dog years.
Exactly right.
AJ on deck, 3-1 on Goldie. But we won't complain. It's been a wonderful stay here. Hopefully we'll take 3 or 4. And there's the third walk in a span of 4 batters by Tyler Chatwood. Goldie aboard to start the third.
Well, you knew Goldie would keyhole Tyler Chatwood. He keyholes everybody. You have to throw something he wants to hit.
AJ struck out on that check swing foul tip after the hit by pitch was overturned upon review. He almost threw that curveball into the seats.
Just a bit high.
And it's funny, all these control problems. I mean, even last year, Tyler Chatwood's walk rate was a career high. No pitcher in the league lost more games than Chatwood last year. He was 8-15 at Colorado. But that didn't stop the Cubs from giving him $38 million. They signed into a 3-year deal as a free agent in December. So they weren't scared off, and in one sense, based on his track record, they're getting what they paid for, which is just a wild thing. How about this? We're talking Steve Blass wild.
Yeah. And Steve Blass pitched for the Pirates back in the 70s, and he came up with the thing. He just could not find the strike zone with a tremendously accomplished pitcher, but all of a sudden it just left him.
I hope JD's not watching this game back home. Sorry, JD. There's a 2-hopper to Russell at shortstop, and Bodie turns it. Well, Chatwood has insisted no big deal. He's walked 3 so far and hasn't cost him yet. Quickly 2 down in the third.
Chatwood's been walking that tightrope all summer long, and Yu Darvish, their other big starting pitcher acquisition in the offseason, is AWOL. He did throw a side session yesterday. I believe he's supposed to throw another one tomorrow. Slowly working his way back into that rotation.
They are somewhat encouraged by the medical news on Darvish, but you got to wonder about this pitching staff in a postseason series. Strike one on Souza, who thought it was inside. Mike Estabrook disagrees. This is where Steven, they're hoping, will sort of contain that energy that he plays with. Bottle it up a little bit and stay locked in. And how about that? A base hit into left. And now we've got an interesting situation, Bob. Jake Lamb is the hitter, batting 5th. But here comes Ketel Marte.
It's interesting. Made a real nice play on David Bodie to end that second inning. Had another play earlier in the inning on Addison Russell, but didn't really see anything out of the ordinary for Jake Lamb. Hopefully nothing wrong.
Well, we'll take a look at some of our replays and see if we can find anything that possibly could have gone wrong. So here's Marte hitting for Lamb. Just going to guess that he'll go over to second and then move Descalso to third. Maybe we'll find out. Ketel 244 and 9 homers.
Talk about Contreras. Yeah, we've talked a lot about framing this year because the Diamondbacks have 3 catchers that are very adept at making those borderline pitches look better than they are. Contreras just took a strike and dropped it. That did happen to me a couple times in my career as a hitter. I had a strike called on me and the opposing catcher dropped the ball, and I said, how can that be a strike? He can't even catch it. couldn't persuade the umpire to change his call.
Your Honor, I object. Late time granted. Rizzo has it at first. Bottom third all the way. D-backs trail the Cubs 1-0. Cubs 1-0. Valley Toyota Dealers presents Let's Go Places for the first time this year. It's off to San Diego. 3-game series starts tomorrow at Petco Park. Zach Greinke, Patrick Corbin, and Clay Buchholz will pitch Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the team that is last in the NL West, the Padres. Ketel Marte does indeed take over at second. And Daniel Descalso slides over to third, replacing Jake Lamb. We have no word as of yet from the Diamondbacks on why Lamb came out of the game. But as soon as we have something, we'll pass it along to you. Shift is on for Rizzo, who struck out his first time up. Tell you what, this so far Godley-Rizzo matchup has very much advantaged Zach Godley. Struck him out the first time. Now he's ahead 0-2. Here's a look at the overshift against Rizzo. The wind, as you predicted, Bob, has changed, now blowing straight out, it looks like, to center field, out toward the lake.
That's what makes me think there must be something physically wrong with Jake Lamb. No hitter wants to leave a ball game at Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out.
And it's blowing out pretty strong, too. Gusting. Rizzo slices one into left center. That's the third hit for the Cubs, all singles. Here's Albert Almora Jr. Grounded out his first time up, the league's leading hitter. Almora doubled twice yesterday. He's got 3 hits in the series.
Let's see if the Cubs remain aggressive on the bases like we saw back in that second inning. A couple runners got started.
Almora shows bunt. That's a strike. Zach was asked after that start against the Rockies Saturday about throwing to the bases or holding runners, and he's only thrown over to first base to hold a runner once all season long. That was May 23rd in Milwaukee. But he'll mix up his times to the plate. He'll keep guys off balance at first. He'll be quick to the plate. He'll hold the ball. That's how he likes to control things. Almora once again shows bunt. It's ball 1.
A rare pitch out. We don't see the Diamondbacks pitch out very often, but sometimes that will send a message across the field that, hey, we see what you're trying to do there, and we're going to do what we can to slow it down.
Goldie holding Rizzo on the bag at first. Descalso even with a base at third. Once again, Almora shows bunt. D-backs did a lot of this yesterday against John Lester, who is notorious for not being able to throw to the bases. It didn't seem to faze Lester at all. He was terrific yesterday.
John Lester's the only pitcher in the National League that's thrown over to first base fewer times than Zach Godley.
Yeah, 0. Zach's only done it once. Here's the 1-2. Popped up. Marte and Goldie looking into that sun. Goldie's got it. Jason Hayward grounded out to second to win the first.
Interesting on that pop-up to the right side there. Paul Goldschmidt looked away from the pop-up. It's high in the air. He gets back into a position and then takes a look to see if Almora was running out of the box. If Almora wasn't running, Goldie might have let that drop and tried to turn 2. Boy, just field awareness, court awareness, game awareness, whatever you want to call it. Goldie is always on top of it.
Great job by our camera crew here as well. There goes Rizzo. Avila's throw is a little offline, but they got him anyway. They are running on Zach Godley, and so far the D-backs have dodged some bullets.
A throw on the wrong side of the bag, but what a great tag by Nick Ahmed. Watch how quickly he takes that ball from the shortstop side and just swipes it back on the foot of Anthony Rizzo. Yeah, it looked like he was going to get in there safely, but Avila gets rid of the ball quickly, and just a outstanding tag by Nick Ahmed. Well, between the pitch out earlier in the inning and gunning a guy down at second base, that might slow the Cubs down a little bit.
Base is empty. 2 outs for Hayward now. He's ahead 2-0.
Well, that's a catcher's best friend on a stolen base attempt, a middle infielder that's got great hands like Nick Ahmed does. I've talked many times in the past about Chris Spire, a former teammate of mine with the San Francisco Giants, and I unleashed a whole bunch of bad throws at Candlestick Park, and Chris somehow managed to catch the ball and get the tag down quickly and make me look better.
He did the same thing all those years in Montreal for Gary Carter, the Hall of Famer. 2-2 on Jason Hayward. Swing and a miss on the curveball. We're through 3 at Wrigley. D-backs trail the Cubs 1-0. Nothing. Don't forget, fans, if you can't watch the games on your television, you can stream them live on your mobile devices. Use Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Daniel Descalso, who took over at third when Jake Lamb had to leave, will lead off the fourth against Tyler Chatwood. Still no word on what happened to Jake Lamb. Daniel singled his first time up. 1-0 Chicago, each team with 3 hits. Been a good series for Daniel Descalso. He's singled twice. He's walked 3 times. To second for Bodie, the rookie.
Bodie just called up after last night's ball game, and we got here very early to the ballpark today, and David Bodie and Brian Butterfield were out on the field banging ground balls to his right, to his left, turning double plays at second base, and it's already paid off for the Cubs here in this game today.
Yeah, Bodie back up from the minors today for the 5th time this season. He's been yo-yoing back and forth between here and Iowa all year long. Nick Ahmed struck out his first time up. And Nick shoots one out to left center. That'll reach the ivy. And Ahmed pulls into second with a 1-out double, his 21st of the year.
Ooh, right down the middle. Keyhole, that's what he was looking for. Puts the barrel on it, finds that gap in left center field.
D-backs and the tying run in scoring position. One down for Alex Avila, who walked his first time. Wind now blowing back out toward the right field corner, but it's lessened a little bit, more of a breeze than a gust right now. Chatwood misses in with a fastball, 1-0.
The base open and a pitcher on deck. You might think an intentional walk. Tyler Chatwood, despite he's walking just about everybody in the world, has only had one intentional walk all summer.
He has enough unintentional walks.
No kidding.
Oh, got the call on the high breaking ball. Don't see that very often. 1-1. Chatwood has walked 3 so far. Walked 3 in a span of 4 batters between the end of the second and the start of the third. Behind on Avila, 2 balls and 1 strike. We anticipated between Zach Godley's efforts to slow down the Cub base runners and Chatwood's problems with control that the game might move at a slower pace than we've seen. Certainly seen a lot of good pitching in this series so far. Lester was great yesterday, as was Robbie Ray.
Really good to see Robbie Ray do what he did in the ball game last night. Would have been nice to come away with a win, but as I mentioned after the ball game last night, a huge step in the right direction for Robbie, just pounding that strike zone.
Yeah, Robbie completed 7 innings for the first time. Gave up just 1 run, 4 hits, had 6 strikeouts. 2-2 on Avila. Fly ball, left field. Schwarber backing up. He's at the ivy, and it's gone. Alex Avila makes it 2-1 D-backs.
Well, that's a little surprising. That wind that we've been talking about all afternoon continues to blow from the left field corner to the right field corner, and Alex just cut that one right through the wind.
He's having a very good month of July. That's his 5th of the year.
That's a rare Tyler Chatwood curveball, and Alex Avila waited on it well, let it get deep in the zone, and sneaks it up above the basket out there in left field.
The former Cub back in town. Now the D-backs have the lead with a Jumbo Jack. Free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink.
Did I mention they had a base open right there? The pitcher on deck.
You and your strategery.
Well, you know, and as a manager, I'm sure Joe Madden in the back of his mind right now is trying to think, how am I going to answer that question in the post-game news conference? Why didn't you walk Avila? You had the pitcher on deck.
I know Alex's batting average at the time we started was under 150, but Godley's is under 100.
Chatwood's 9th home run allowed this season. 7 of them have come right here at Wrigley Field.
And Alex hit that directly into the wind, which is blowing across from left to right. Look at that. Now it's really picked up. Is our flag orange?
It certainly looks orange, yes.
They have all the teams there, and now they're in order of their standings in the division. There's the NL West column. Our flag is Giants colors. That's messed up, man. What's the deal with that?
And the first 2 games of this series, after the ball game, they take those flags down and they fly either the big W or the big L. And there was a reason for that. As you well know, partner, the L train goes just beyond the right field wall out there. And for people who were leaving the city in the afternoon, they wanted to know, how did the Cubs do today? So they started to fly a flag out there in center field after the ball game to let the commuters know how the Cubs did.
And now that big W has become an iconic symbol of the Cubs franchise. You see the W everywhere on hats and shirts and flags. Godley strikes out. 4 strikeouts for Chatwood. Here's Peralta, who's 1 for 2. David has singled and grounded out. So he's now, here's the L right by the ballpark. He just checked the flag. How about our director, Brian Moss? Right on it. Now we see the subway train as the freight train grounds out, but Alex Avila gives the D-backs the lead. He finished up last year here in Chicago as a Cub, but now he makes it 2-1 Diamondbacks with his 5th of the year. Cubs 2-1. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. It's off to San Diego, our first visit this year. Hard to believe, to Petco Park. And we start off tomorrow night with Zach Greinke on the mound against Luis Perdomo, Patrick Corbin, and Clay Buchholz over the weekend.
Tyson Ross, the scheduled Padres starter for Saturday, but a lot of sources are reporting he might not even be in a Padres uniform by Saturday.
A lot of trades today, BB, as everybody's getting busy. Contreras leads off the 4th. He singled and scored the Cub run to start the 2nd. That's fair at 3rd for Descalso, who makes a nice backhand stop and a perfect throw. I saw former D-back Brandon Drury is on the move again.
Yeah, sounds like he's going to Toronto in that J. Happ deal, sending the left-hander to the Yankees. Martin Maldonado, catcher, headed to Houston. Yeah, Joaquin Soria going to the Milwaukee Brewers. None of those completely final yet, but this is that time of year, which is why it makes it all the more interesting that Jake Lamb came out of this game for no apparent reason. When you see that happen this time of year, the first thing that pops into a lot of people's mind is he's been traded.
Well, yeah, you don't want to start the speculation bonfire, but that's a legitimate point. The trade deadline is the 31st. That's Tuesday. So time is running out. After Tuesday, you can still make trades, but the player has to clear waivers first. Here's Ian Happ. Shift is on. Only guy over there. Tried to hit it away from the shift. Descalso throws him out. I also have breaking news.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is bigger than any trade.
Oh, my.
As always, when we visit here, you are going to have the honor of singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Between the top half of the 7th inning and the bottom half, you always nail it. And so you have to go over there with Len and JD for the top half of the inning. And I get a little lonely over here. So we're going to bring in the moral compass, Mike Farron, who may be making his TV debut to Diamondback Nation. He's a Chicago guy.
Yeah.
So the moral compass, Mike Farron, who is here working D-backs radio along with the Governor Greg Schulte and Tom Candiotti, will join me for the top of the 7th while you're doing Cubs TV, getting ready for your annual sing-along.
Yeah, well, looking forward to that. I'll have to check the tape.
Well, you'll be busy, too.
Go from one extreme to the other, from me to a moral compass.
I mean, north and south right there. The road forked, and I went down one or whatever it is. Here's Schwarber.
Come to a fork in the road, take it.
Yeah. Schwarber has an RBI single, knocked in the Cub run back in the 2nd.
You mentioned Mike Farron grew up here in the area, just up north, actually very close to where my daughter lives now. So when I found out she was moving to that area and I found out that Mike was from that area, he clued me in on where to eat and who had good pizza and which restaurants to avoid.
That doesn't sound like Mike.
Oh, well, he said they're all good.
Yes. Now that sounds like Mike. 2-2. You hear Mike Farron doing Diamondbacks pre and post game reports on the radio side. And of course, host of the ever popular Snake Talk radio program after our home games.
Must listen.
And we do hope that you will join us then. Full count, 3-2. Zach at 50 pitches, 30 strikes. He has walked 1. He's got 2 strikeouts. And he's given up 3 hits, all singles. Some are a little more into it than others here.
Yeah, this is definitely the place to be today. Another packed house here at Wrigley Field, as you've mentioned several times. Just an absolutely perfect afternoon for baseball.
I had 40,000 plus the first 2 nights, nearly 36 in here yesterday afternoon. Fly ball, pretty deep left field. Peralta at the track, and he's got it. And Godley's retired 5 in a row. A 1-2-3-4. It's 2-1 D-backs.
pitching here at Wrigley Field on August 16th, 2002. Just absolutely dealing against the Cubbies. And the fans here at Wrigley Field showed their appreciation. When they see a good performance, whether it's by one of the Cubs or one of the visitors, they recognize it. Yeah, boy, horrible overmanaging that day. How can you take Kurt Schilling out of that ballgame?
What idiot did that? Oh, wait. Of course, the big shill, part of our 20th anniversary all-time D-back team. Zach Godley with a 2-1 lead through 4. Goldie starts it off in the 5th against Tyler Chatwood. Paul has popped up and walked. He's 0 for 1.
Second time he's led off an inning. He led off that third with a base on balls, was eliminated by the A.J. Pollock double play ball.
Goldie, 5 hits and 3 walks in this series. He's doubled and homered. Since June the 1st, he's hitting .353. So that's basically 2 months worth of .353 after the May malaise. Chatwood now at 75 pitches, no outs in the 5th. Well, that's a good example, Bob, of your keyhole.
Yeah.
He got a 2-1 hitters count right there. Pitch wasn't exactly where he wanted, so he took it even for a strike. And now here's the 2-2. Got that one in on the hands. Chatwood with a high changeup.
And that's just as much a matter of confidence as anything else. Goldie, as we know, watching him over the years, he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He can still do damage with 2 strikes. And when you have a struggling pitcher out there on the mound who can't consistently throw strikes, he doesn't mind taking a couple pitches in the zone.
That's foul in front of Tony Perez-Chica at third. Yeah, Goldie, during this 47-game stretch since the 1st of June, has an on-base percentage that's .447. So he's literally, for the last 2 months, almost gotten on base half the time he's up there. And you got to be a good 2-strike hitter to do that. Lays off a fastball down and away, and now it's full 3-2. Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up from Chatwood. Goldie's not had a whole luck against Chatwood. 20 career at bats. He's only batting $150 against him. Saw plenty of Chatwood from Chatwood's Rockies days. There's the 4th walk, 2nd time he's walked Goldie to lead off an inning. Brings up A.J. Pollock, who has struck out and hit into a double play. AJ's been hot lately, last 14 games, hitting over .360. He's starting to get round back into the form he showed when he was a National League Player of the Month in April and then Player of the Week the first week in May, right before he got hurt, that fractured left thumb. Cost him more than 40 games. That one goes to the backstop. Goldie moves up. AJ almost got hit again. Wild pitch.
Well, that appears just to be a four-seam fastball. That's what's amazing. I mentioned earlier in the ballgame, Chatwood throws a lot of fastballs. Four-seamers, two-seamers, cutters. And the four-seamer is the pitch that usually you would expect a pitcher to be able to command the best, but he almost took AJ's helmet off of that one.
Now Contreras is back out there. Mike Estabrook will write down that mound visit. Cub bullpen gets busy. Brian Dunsing, the left-hander. We saw him in the series opener on Monday night. Dunsing can give him some length. He went 2 2/3 Monday. AJ ahead 2-0. Cubs already have used 3 of their 6 mound visits. Contreras throws to second. Goldie was not very far off the bag that time.
The old saying in a game of baseball, don't try to do too much.
Stay within yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a ridiculous throw down there to second base. Didn't really accomplish anything. Everybody in the league knows that Wilson Contreras has a great arm and likes to show it, but that ball ends up in center field. Goldie ends up at third base. Could change the entire complexion of this inning.
Late time granted by Mike Estabrook as Pollock backs out. Yeah, Goldie was only a couple of steps off the base. That was kind of pointless.
Chatwood has thrown 84 pitches in this ball game, 48 of them out of the stretch.
Hello.
Oh.
He has had traffic around him all day, but it's still just a 2-1 game here in the 5th. This is Badley that time. He walked Goldie to start off the inning. Wild pitched him to second, and now he's behind on Pollock 3-1 with Souza on deck. As we mentioned, this again is Tyler Chatwood, who has issued more walks than any pitcher in baseball, averaging 8 walks for every 9 innings pitched. And he's just walked his 5th batter of the ball game. So he's pretty much on course here. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach. How about this? The Cubs, Bob, with no outs in the 5th, have already used up 4 of their 6 mound visits. Something to think about as we get into the latter stages of the ball game.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACS50 at papajohns.com.
Chance to make some noise for Steven Souza Jr., who has popped up and singled. He's got Goldie at second, AJ at first, and nobody out. Fastball misses up. Souza has really settled into the offense over the last week or so after he missed all that time the first half of the year with a pectoral strain. Last 10 games batting better than .380 with 6 extra base hits. It's one right at Russell at shortstop, and Bodie turns the double play. Quickly 2 down, Goldie in at third. Chatwood has this unusual knack of walking the ballpark and somehow containing the damage. Ketel Marte came into the ball game when Jake Lamb left. We don't have any word on exactly what happened with Jake.
Was it for the Mets a couple of years ago? The rumors were flying this time of year, and there was even an incorrect announcement that he had been traded.
Oh, that was several years ago with Wilmer Flores.
Wilmer Flores.
He was in tears in the dugout And it turned out he remained a Met and still is a Met to this day, sadly, for him. Hey, that's not right.
Yeah, this time of year the rumors are flying left and right, especially now with social media and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, anytime something unusual pops up at this time of year, the go-to answer is he's been traded.
Chatwood at 90 pitches, trying to get through 5. Well, you talk about, is there such a thing as ineffectively wild? Because this is it.
And once again, fastballs. I could see if he's bouncing breaking balls in the dirt or missing with the split finger down in the dirt, but these are almost all fastballs that he's missing the zone by 3 and 4 feet.
Behind on Marte, 3-0, and there's ball 4. That's walk number 6. So Tyler Chatwood, as Joe Madden's going to go out there counting today, now 12 games with at least 5 walks. Lance Lynn has the next most, 6 games with at least 5 walks, so half as many. We'll get a look at Brian Dunsing when we come back.
Hey, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Left-hander Brian Dunsing on from the Cubby bullpen. We saw him in Monday's series opener work 2 2/3 hitless innings. This is his 41st appearance of the year. The ERA well over 6.5. He's got Goldie at third, Marte at first. 2 outs. The batter is Daniel Descalso, who has singled and grounded out. Fastball's a strike. Descalso just over 260 this year versus left-hand pitchers. He's got 3 homers against lefties. And that wind blowing out hard toward the right field corner. Well, as advertised, Tyler Chatwood has walked, or did walk, 6 batters today, but so far none of the 6 bases on balls has scored. He's still got 2 on base right now, Goldie and Marte. That's fouled away, and it's 1-2.
I get the biggest kick out of this, partner. As you know, we get all kinds of paper and information and statistics up here. The batter versus pitcher reports. Daniel Descalso is listed as a Diamondbacks pitcher.
Well, on more than one occasion. We jinxed him. We asked him about that in spring training. He didn't want to talk about it because he was afraid eventually he'd give up a run, and sure enough. Because as you know, what the broadcasters say controls what happens in a game. Every no-hitter,
yeah, it's
every
all
perfect game.
Our fault, although we never get credit for anything. Contreras took that foul ball off a bad spot in the glove. That may sound funny, but that big old catcher's mitt has a very distinct pocket in it, and if the ball hits anywhere other than that pocket, you really feel the vibrations up that left forearm.
Tried that big sweeper, missed with it. 2-2. Nick Ahmed, who doubled to left center his last time up, would be next. Oldie standing down there at third. Ketel Marte at first. They both walked. Here's the 2-2. Did he check? Yep.
I think he might have just got a piece of that one. Sounded like it might have tipped off the bottom of his bat right there and just went straight down in front of Wilson Contreras.
Oh, we got the double cathud.
A little double cathud right there. Oh, goodness, almost a triple cathud.
Wrigley Field, Chicago. One more time on 2-2.
Oh, nice play, Nick. Not only does he make great plays out at shortstop, he just made a barehanded play in the on-deck circle on that foul ball. And yes, those are bricks right there behind Nick. Slammed into those one time back in the playing days, chasing a foul ball on the first base side and cracked a rib. They are real bricks.
And real ribs. This is down and away. That was off the plate. And Descalso's worked it full 3-2. Well, the way Nick hits lefties, you'd love to see him get a chance against Dunsing with the bases full here.
Oh, yeah.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat to Daniel Descalso. On the way. Staying alive. Boy, has this guy ever had a bad at bat?
Somewhere along the line. I'm sure he has, but we haven't seen very many of them with the D-backs.
5 foul balls in this AB to Descalso, 4 of them with 2 strikes. Marte on the move from first, and that's ball 4. He didn't go, says Chad Fairchild. And Ahmed will indeed hit with the bases loaded.
Yeah, you get your wish.
That's the 4th base on balls in this inning by Cubs pitchers. 7 for the ball game. Ahmed has struck out and doubled.
It's always a shame not to cash in runners in scoring position, but in this inning it would really hurt if the Diamondbacks can't put a number, possibly a crooked number, up on that board. 4 walks in the inning. Ooh.
They're loaded with 2 outs. Ahmed hits a fly ball to left.
Go ball.
That ball is going, and it is way out of here. Nick Ahmed hits the first D-back grand slam in 2018.
Nice. On the board.
6-1 Diamondbacks. Go get 'em, Nick. That's the 13th of the year for number 13. That one was 3/4 of the way up the bleachers and left. Talk about a jumbo jack.
Well, once again, we've talked about that wind. It continues to blow from the left field corner to the right field corner, and Nick Ahmed with a tape measure home run into that wind.
Here's Avila, who homered his last time up. A 2-run shot that gave the D-backs a 2-1 lead. Now it's 6-1. Dunsing got that fastball in there, but Mike Esterberg says ball one.
Talk about your timely hits.
Wow. Well, they finally made those walks pay off. You thought, oh my goodness, you can't walk 7 guys and have none of them score. That time they all scored.
And it's been pointed out by our guys down in the truck that Daniel Descalso at bat got the 2 strikes, fouled off all the tough pitches, ended up taking ball 4 to set it up for Nick Ahmed.
That's a great point by our guys in the truck. Brian Moss, Brad Weimer, Josh Kellman, Paul Krause, everybody. So a 6-1 lead for Zach Godley in the 5th. Godley on deck. Boy, Nick just crushed that one. That was way back there.
Boy, and you think about the double he hit back in the 4th inning. He crushed that ball too, but it was more on a line in the gap in left center. That one he got some lift on it and hit it way out of here.
3-1 on Avila. Well, it took 104 games, but the D-backs have their first Grand Slam this year, courtesy of Nick Ahmed. There's the strikeout. And that ends the 5th, but the D-backs add 4. Nick Ahmed, his 13th home run, the first Grand Slam of the year. In Chicago, it's 6-1 Diamondbacks.
Unfortunately, that was Alex Avila. We got the wrong video up there. We're sorry about that, folks. This was, I believe, the Alex Avila home run earlier in the ballgame. We'll get back to that Descalso at bat. It was a 10-pitch at bat. He battled and battled and battled and ultimately took the base on balls to set it up for Nick Ahmed's grand slam, the first for the D-backs this summer.
Nick today has doubled, homered. He scored twice. He's knocked in 4. Descalso, a tremendous at bat to work a 2-out walk, loading the bases for Ahmed. And now the D-backs have a 6-1 lead as we start the bottom of the 5th. Addison Russell, the shortstop, leads it off against Zach Godley. Godley has set down the last 5 Cubs he's faced. Russell grounded out his first time up. Pitcher spot is up next for Chicago, and Tommy La Stella is in the on-deck circle, set to hit for Dunsing. There's a strike, and it's 0-2.
It seems kind of funny, of all these powerful hitters in this Cubs lineup, Addison Russell's the guy that has beaten on Zach Godley in the past. 3 for 4 with 2 home runs.
He didn't go, says Mark Carlson. Zach falling off the mound hard there. Russell having a fairly quiet month at the plate, hitting just .216 in July. Down 1-2. Nick Ahmed's first career grand slam. First D-back slam since J.D. Martinez last September against the Giants. And the first grand slam for the D-backs on the road since Just Dingers in July at St. Louis. Now the Angels and the Giants are the only teams in the majors still without a grand slam, as Godley gets his 3rd strikeout. Here's La Stella. He is Joe Madden's ace pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher Dunsing. So La Stella's batting average for the season, .272. He's a .275 hitter as a pinch hitter in 58 plate appearances, so this is something he does a lot. He's got a base hit. 4th hit for Chicago, all singles against Godley. I like this. Bodie, his walk-up music. Bowie.
Oh, nice. I see what he did there.
Rebel, rebel. What is it? You're wearing a dress, your face is a mess? Something?
Something like that.
This is what happens when Brian Moss tries to help out with the commentary. That was La Stella's 15th pinch hit this year. That's the most in the major leagues. No, he didn't, says Mark Carlson. A ball and a strike. Bodie recalled from AAA Iowa today. If you're just joining us, Chris Bryant back on the DL with that left shoulder inflammation. Cubs were hoping some rest would alleviate that, but no go. The swelling was still in there, so Bryant goes back on the DL today. Aggravated that injury Monday against the Diamondbacks. You mentioned Bodie in the Fall League. He had a good Arizona Fall League. Valley baseball fans may have seen him playing for Mesa. He hit over .330 with 4 home runs in the Fall League last year. Eddie Butler now warming up in the Cub bullpen. You saw him in the game on Tuesday night. Bodie knocks one into center. Couple of one-out singles for the Cubs against Godley. There comes Rizzo, who has struck out and singled. Godley with some work to do. Stella is at second, Bodie at first, and one out. Cubs, when they had traffic on the bases around Godley in the second, got very aggressive on the base paths. We'll see how they want to play this one down 6-1. I'm sure they don't want to make any outs on the bases if they can help it. Saw the shift is on against Rizzo. That's fouled back. 11 games since Joe Madden put Anthony Rizzo, his cleanup hitter, into the leadoff spot. And in those 11 games, Rizzo is hitting .421. Well, Rizzo went fishing out of the strike zone that time. That changeup sailing away from the left-hand batter. Now he's down 0-2. That's a base hit for Rizzo. Brian Butterfield sends LaStella home. Bodie into third, and it's 6-2. Three straight singles for Chicago.
Came on a breaking ball. Anthony Rizzo, occasionally he looks like a leadoff hitter. He's just trying to bump the ball into play. We don't see that powerful swing that lifts the ball in the air to right field. Time just a very short controlled swing, made solid contact and drives home a run for the Cubs.
Here comes Mike Butcher. Now you've got the league's leading hitter Albert Almora Jr. coming up. First and third, one out with a run in. There's the Cub bullpen. Butler was warming up earlier. Now Chavez joins him. Diamondback bullpen is quiet for the moment. Couple of right-handers for the Cubs. Almora so far has grounded out, popped up. He's 0 for 2. Came into the game leading the league with a .320 batting average. Almora 95 hits this year, already a career high for him. That's second on the Cubs only to Javi Baez. How about that pick by Alex Avila back there? That cutter really got away from Godley. Bodie at third.
I talk about all the time fastballs that are spiked into the dirt. You just don't anticipate that as a catcher unless you're catching Tyler Chatwood. That time Alex just reached across and backhanded that ball out of the dirt like Goldie would pick a throw out of the dirt at first base.
Well, D-backs put up 4 in the top half of this inning. Godley trying to contain the damage in the home half, but behind 2-0. Third base, it's off the chest of Descalso. He can't recover. Bodie scores, and it's 6-3. Daniel lately has had a couple of rough moments with his infield defense, and that one brings home a run.
Now that second hop kind of climbed up his forearm. He looked like he was going to try to go to second base there as he recovered. I don't believe there was a play to be had at second base. Probably would have been better served to take a little more time, pick it up cleanly, and get the out at first.
Remember, Jake Lamb had to come out of the game earlier. We still don't know why. That's E5 and an RBI for Almora. And here's Hayward. And now suddenly the Cubs, who were down 6-1, have the tying run at the plate with 1 out. Hayward homered here Tuesday. Ball 1.
Not exactly the shutdown inning that Torey Lovullo was looking for after the Nick Ahmed grand slam put the D-backs up 6-1.
And Hayward has been hot lately. That curveball's a strike, 1-1. There is still no one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. It's quiet out there. Chop to first, foul. And now there is some activity in the bullpen. Things are starting to stir under there. The D-back bullpen right below the right field bleachers. It's the Sheriff, Andrew Chafin.
You know, Torey would love to get Zach Godley through this 5th inning, so at least he would be in line for a win in this ball game. But the bottom line is the team winning the ball game.
Trying to take 3 of 4 from the first place Cubs. This is low. Hayward is an excellent on base percentage guy. He rarely expands his strike zone. You got to throw him strikes. Contreras, the catcher, who singled and scored in the 2nd, is on deck. 2-2 on Hayward. 2 on, 1 out, 2 runs home. Little tapper, another tough play. Ahmed barehands it, and they got him. I know he had the killer error here yesterday, but he has put on a clinic here this week.
And most of them have been very tough plays like this one. Little slow chopper to the left side. You got a guy at the plate coming out of the left-handed batter's box that runs extremely well, and Nick's still able to make the play with the bare hand.
I mean, if he doesn't make that play, that's an infield hit. Its base is loaded. You've got the all-star catcher at the plate. Instead, it's 2nd and 3rd, 2 down. Contreras 1 for 2. Wind still blowing out toward the right field corner. Rizzo is the runner at third. Almora down there at second. Another sinker misses low. Godley behind 2-0. Now Butler is sat down. Jesse Chavez, who was up earlier, is the only guy back there. They've already hit for the pitcher Dunsing in this inning. In the hole. Ahmed one more time going to bail him out. And there it is. Godley escapes, but the Cubs get two. D-backs lead is 6-3 through 5.
Spectacular day, as we have chronicled since the pregame show a couple hours ago. But guys, I wanted to convey something that I sensed last night, and I actually misread some of the tension that we felt in the room after the game as we talked to manager Torey Lovullo. I thought it was the loss, the way in which his team lost, very uncharacteristically, throwing a couple of balls away in the bottom of the 8th inning. Soon to find out on our ride back to the hotel, as we talked about, there was a trade that was consummated, but also pitcher Randall Legato was DFA'd, and I asked Torey about it today as we talked to him before the game, and he said, Randall said something to me that I'll never forget. And paraphrasing, apparently Randall just said to him after he got the news, I came to play for you every single day. I was prepared every day, and I gave you all I had. I gave you my heart. And Torey said to him, look, this does not mean by any stretch that your career is over, but it certainly struck him. And Bob, I bring it up because I'm sure you had to do that a time or two in the course of your career, maybe had it done to you. And I know that's not the easiest thing to do when you're the manager telling the guy it's time to go.
Yeah, that is without a doubt for me the worst part of a manager's job, is when you have to send a player back to the minor leagues, or in some instances release a player. But there's just no easy way to do it. I kind of jokingly told the story in the past about a Rubio Durazo in spring training, when we decided that our roster was better off with Ruby getting every day at bats in the minor leagues, staying ready in case we had a need at the major league level. And Ruby didn't see it that way and refused to leave my office down at Tucson Electric Park. And the conversation went on for the better part of a half an hour, and finally Dwayne Murphy, our hitting coach, said, Ruby, let's you and me go talk, and kind of explained it to Ruby and how the organization looks at him. And fortunately was able to convince Rubio to go on down to Tucson and continue to play in AAA and put up big numbers. And sure enough, we needed him early in that 01 season, and he was right back at the major league level. But to answer your question, Todd, that is one of the most distasteful things a manager has to do.
Oh, the new pitcher Jesse Chavez, he came on to work the 8th inning Tuesday night, and struck out all 3 batters he faced. And he strikes out Godley to start the 6th. There's David Peralta, who's 1 for 3. And Todd, Torrey told us the same thing this morning privately that he told you about that discussion with Randall, which was really, really hard, because Randall is exactly correct. He gave the Diamondbacks and Torrey everything they asked time and time again. And what made this a little bit more unique is that if you'll recall the way they had to use Randall last season, when he was starting, relieving, back in there, and then he picked up a spot start or 2 and did really, really well and kept doing it. And I think it was about 4 or 5 starts, and finally he got hurt. So you can make the argument, and Torrey feels, if I don't use Randall the way I used him last year, maybe he's healthy and he's still with us. You never know. But Randall stepped up when they needed him. Schwarber can't make the catch. Peralta's got his 2nd hit.
Well, I mean, it's a business, and there was an investment in Randall Delgado's return from injury, and that's part of it. But the only reason I brought it up is because Torrey just doesn't wear losses like you might think. I can count on 1, 2, or 3 fingers the times last year when I went into the room, and we get in there a few minutes before or a few seconds before the rest of the media, and I can clearly get a sense of where his mind is at. There was a game in Colorado, and Zach Greinke gave it up late that I know hurt in a game at Dodger Stadium. But other than that, it hasn't been that way. And I knew something was up and put it together today.
That's a fair ball. Took a funny hop, but look at Ian Happ make a terrific play to get Goldie at first.
That was a terrific play right there. You never anticipate the ball hitting the base, but that's exactly what happened. Changed the direction of that ground ball, and Happ was able to make the adjustment. Comes in a step, makes the jumping catch, and then fires a strike across the diamond just in time to get Goldie.
So now you've got AJ up there. 2 outs, Peralta at 2nd. AJ has struck out, hit into a double play, and walked. And everybody in this organization liked and appreciated Randall Delgado. I'm sure that you had conversations back in the day that you frankly didn't mind if the guy had to go. I mean, that had to have happened. No names need to be mentioned, but that was the opposite of the case here. Everybody had a tremendous amount of respect for Randall Delgado as a person and as a pitcher.
Well, and at this point, we can just wish him the best of luck. I'm sure Randall's going to end up back in the major leagues with somebody. If not this year, then for sure next season out of spring training. Just too valuable a pitcher to have on a staff. But you look at Matt Andriese coming over to the ball club, and it's kind of repetition. They're both the same guy. Starter, reliever, swing man kind of guy. And unfortunately for Randall, he's had some health issues this year. Andriese has been healthy, so you don't need 2 of those guys in a bullpen.
And as Mike Hazen pointed out, Randall was headed for free agency after this year. They have 3 more years of control with Andriese. And Mike, every move he makes, it's not just a short-term move. This was considered more of a long-term move. But also Andriese can play a key role in the bullpen for the rest of this year. So there were a lot of reasons to make the move, which they did. They bring Andriese in here from Tampa for a pair of minor leaguers.
I mean, there are a lot of organizations around baseball where the general manager, maybe the assistant general manager as well, the manager himself, and then usually the coach that's responsible for the player that you're dealing with will all be in the office at the same time, explaining why you're doing it, explaining the ramifications within the organization, the 40-man roster, the 25-man roster, what you would like them to do. And other organizations, they put it all on the manager. Some organizations put it all on the general manager. You deal with roster moves, but that one's skied high into left field by A.J. Pollock. I think the best way is to get everybody together and try to explain it as best you can.
Bottom 6, it's 6-3 D-backs. Lead the Cubs 6-3. MLB.TV now available, fans, at a lower price, $82.99. Gets you every out-of-market regular season game, live or on demand. Includes MLB at Bat Premium. That lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Check out MLB.TV and take advantage of the special offers. Zach Godley back out there to start the 6th. And Ian Happ, who's 0 for 2, leads it off for Chicago. One and two on the Cub third baseman. Left-hander Randy Rosario is warming up in the Chicago pen. Pitcher spot is due up 4th in this inning. 2-2 on Ian Happ. A reminder, after this inning we lose BB for 3 outs. He goes over to join Lennon JD for Cub TV to make your annual 7th inning stretch Take Me Out to the Ball Game Songbird appearance, and we'll be joined here for 3 outs by the Moral Compass Mike Farron.
Well, they always alert the residents of Wrigleyville to make sure their dogs are indoors. Watch out for broken glass.
You have that down. You've become an annual event. Oh, that one really bit Avila. Either the ball or the swing got him.
Unfortunately, I think that was a foul tip in a bad spot. Look away. Yeah, those are the worst ones too, the ones that go down and sneak up underneath.
Well, Ryan DePanfilo is going to come out and have a look, not liking the way Alex is hunched over.
This is not a joking matter. Yadier Molina spent considerable amount of time on the DL earlier this year by taking a foul tip right where Alex Avila just did.
Yeah, in fact, Yadi needed emergency surgery after that happened earlier this year. That was the first week of May. He was out for a month. He took a foul tip off a 102-mile-an-hour fastball from Jordan Hicks, and he was diagnosed with a traumatic pelvic hematoma and had to be rushed to the hospital. So he was out for a month with that. Looks like Alex, fortunately, is going to stay in the ball game. Still 2-2 on Ian Happ. Ryan DePanfilo, you see him all the time when there's a trainer issue. He is universally regarded as the best basketball player on the Diamondbacks. He can fill it up.
Well, Patrick Corbin may argue that.
Well, I'm not sure. I think Dippy's got Patrick even. Torey Lovullo, as Happ looks at strike 3, always tells us, and they played their coach's game at DePaul here the other day, that you just can't stop Dippy, man. When he shoots, it's going in. Nobody can guard him.
Have to go to a box and one.
Here you go.
3-man zone and double team Dippy.
Okay, Hoosiers. Yeah, Dippy can shoot.
Well, he's considerably younger than the guys he's competing against, which is an unfair advantage to start with.
Much better shape.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Schwarber, an RBI single in the 2nd. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. That one's a strike. Just off the plate. Schwarber not convinced. It's 0-1. Yeah, the coaches get together and play some basketball games every city we're in if they can on the road trips. That one's going to go foul. So they were able to get into DePaul the other day and play a Tuesday morning. Channeling their inner Mark Aguirres and Clyde Bradshaws. Those great Ray Meyer teams here in the late 70s at DePaul. By the way, we have news finally on Jake Lamb. He had to leave the game with a left shoulder contusion. And remember, Jake missed a lot of time with a shoulder bruise earlier this year. This is away from the shift. And Descalso drifts out there. He can't get it. And Schwarber's at second. That wind is still shifting, and it got hung up in there, and nobody could get it.
David Peralta got a little bit of a late break on that ball. Tough play, backpedaling out into left field by Daniel Descalso that time. And once again, you always have to take a look at the flags, see what they're doing.
That's a double for Schwarber. Here's Russell, the shortstop. Bunts it foul. Pitcher spot is up next, and Javier Baez is in the on-deck circle. He is second in the league in RBIs if Russell gets aboard. Suddenly Baez is the tying run at the plate. Yoshi Hirano starts to warm up in the Diamondback bullpen.
Well, neither team took batting practice on the field here today, so we didn't get a chance to see Baez move around. If yesterday was any indication, if Baez gets to the plate, everybody ought to be playing in the outfield grass. He could barely limp his way down to first base.
Still got that left knee bruise after the collision with Steven Souza Jr. the other night. Nice block by Avila. Didn't go on the 0-2, says Mark Carlson. Javi Baez now second in the league in runs batted in behind the Reds' Eugenio Suarez. Well, Suarez has really had a good year.
With the exception of the days I picked him for my beat the streak.
Well, there is that. None of us have been any good at all this year at beat the streak.
I was real good last night. I had Benintendi and Betts for the Red Sox. They both homered in their first at bat, and then the game got washed out.
It's not going to work, Showalter. 1-2. There's Yoshi. Godley at 91 pitches right now, trying to get through 6. Defense has let him down a couple of times today, with the exception of Ahmed, who's been brilliant once again. That time he went. Carlson rings him up. Schwarber runs into third, and now there are 2 outs, and Baez will hit.
Hard curveball in the dirt. Seen a lot of hitters this year chase that pitch.
Big hand for Javi Baez. 295 and 19 homers. He limped his way through a pinch hit single yesterday. He's 4 for 8 in the series. Schwarber at third, 2 outs. Just feed him curveballs. He'll get himself out.
Out of the strike zone. You don't have to throw this guy a strike ever to get him out.
Rosario, the lefty. Cishek, the righty. There's another one. Went with a cutter that time.
That'll work. 14 walks on the season for Javier Baez. This is his 370th at bat. Now It gets a little more dicey with the runner at third base to bounce that curveball in the dirt, but Alex Avila's been up to it today.
And there it is, a swing and a miss. It gets all the way back, and Baez is going to reach at 6-4. It went to the one spot behind Avila that's pretty deep, too far back to get Baez. Right behind him, into that notch. Here comes Torrey.
It's so odd to see Alex Avila not block a curveball in the dirt. He's in great position, just didn't get that glove all the way down, snuck underneath all the way to the bricks.
Well, 2 wild pitches in this inning helped the Cubs get another run across. Godley can't quite get through 6, and he'll exit here from Wrigley. It's 6-4. Back after this. A 6-4 ball game with 2 outs in the 6th. Cubs have the tying run at the plate, and on for the bullpen is the right-hander Yoshihisa Hirano, his 48th appearance of the year. Well, Godley got the strikeout he needed to end the 6th that just rolled behind Avila. A run scored, and we keep going here. Here's the rookie Bodie, called up from AAA Iowa today. He singled and scored his last time up. Keep in mind, Baez is not running at all well with that knee bruise right now.
Barely taking a lead off first base down there. That time he was about 2 steps off the bag with his hands on his hips. Yeah, it could be a deke. He's a clever guy out there on the field, but as I said before, the way we saw him run yesterday, I don't even think there's a reason to hold him on first base.
That left knee still sore after the Souza collision. Here's the 0-1 from Yoshi. Fouled away, a fastball right down the middle. It's 0-2. Tell you what, you want to take 3 of 4 from these guys in their yard. You got to earn it. Cubs keep chipping away. They got 2 back in the 5th. 1 more home here in the 6th. Rizzo on deck.
I was just going to say, it goes without saying you'd like the inning to end right here and keep Anthony Rizzo in that on deck circle. He already has 2 hits and an RBI in the ball game today.
Avila hangs on to the foul tip. We head to the 7th. Mike Farron joins us next. 6'4" D-backs. Fans collect our final bobblehead this year. It's coming up September 8th. First 20,000 fans to our game against the Braves get this Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead. It's courtesy of Pepsi. You must add this one to the collection. That is a really cool bobblehead. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. We're honored here as Bob Brenly moves over to our right here to do Cubs TV, joined by the Moral Compass, Mike Farron, host of the ever-popular Snake Talk radio program.
The show's called Diamond Talk, Steve.
No, it isn't. And, and also the host of our D-backs pre- and post-game shows on the radio, filling in for this half inning for BB. It's great to have you here.
It's nice. I didn't realize I was supposed to wear black today.
Well, you didn't get the memo.
No, I didn't.
That's all right.
At least I wore something with a logo today.
Nice work. This is your D-backs TV debut. It's great to have you here.
I am honored and privileged to be sitting here with your fine staff.
Oh, come on.
You.
Steve Cishek is on to start the 7th inning. Steven Souza Jr. leads it off. These guys are very good friends and former Tampa Bay teammates. And remember, it was Cishek who hit Souza with a pitch the other night. Baez stays in the game, so that knee must be feeling better. He takes over at shortstop. So Russell comes out. Pitcher spot now 7th in the Cub order. Now you are, as we mentioned earlier, this is a home for you. You're a Chicago guy.
Yeah, born and raised in Lake Forest, about 35 miles north of downtown. And got a chance to see most of my family this week, all but one sister-in-law and my youngest brother's kid. So it's been nice to be back in the old haunts for a few days.
You're back here haunting people, are you?
Yes, I am.
I thought I was rid of that guy. Now, I get asked all the time, why do we call you the Moral Compass? Maybe
and I don't know why.
Yes, you do. Because
really
you've married people.
I signed up for one of those like online churches or whatever.
You are the Church of Baseball or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, the Church of Baseball. It was the Church of Baseball, which oddly enough is actually recognized in Maryland to perform weddings.
And you've married some of your friends, right?
A couple of them.
How about that? So and plus we look to you for moral guidance anyway. So that's why we call you the Moral Compass.
I think you're probably making a big mistake in looking to me for any sort of moral guidance.
I look to you for guidance in all areas of life, Mike. You know that. We have many long, deep discussions about how I should conduct myself.
And yet you never listen to me.
I never do. But I just like to check. But the trade deadline coming up Tuesday, things have been busy here today.
They have been. It's been a lot of activity today. You're starting to see the relief market pick up. Obviously, the D-backs got involved in that yesterday and getting Matt Andrews from Tampa Bay. And I think you're going to see a lot more activity, especially with relievers over the next 4 days.
3-2 on Souza. Swing and a miss. Cishek gets the strikeout. Do we anticipate anything else from the Diamondbacks?
I think that there's likely another move or so in there. I mean, I think one of the things that we'll be monitoring and certainly asking after the game is, how significant is the shoulder contusion for Jake Lamb? And I think, if they had had their druthers, another right-handed bat might have been in the offing anyway. Maybe more as like an August move, but I'll be curious to see if that has any impact on what they do. But I think mostly the safe money has always been on relief pitching and kind of strengthening the strength that is the bullpen right now. And I would think that there's probably another move involved.
Well, the bullpen has been one of the best in baseball to this point for the Diamondbacks, but you can always use one more arm. And
I really like the Andriese pickup, just from the standpoint of having a guy who can fill the role that Randall did last year.
That's a fair ball. Marte shoots it down the line in left. He's digging for second, and he is out of there. Boy, Schwarber got down to that line, picked it up, and they throw Marte out at second base.
Schwarber's been maligned for his defense, Steve, but he has a very strong arm. He was a catcher when he was drafted, and I think if you look at some of the defensive metrics, they've been pretty positive on him this year, and a lot of it has to do with the accuracy of that arm.
Well, you see Marte trying to swim around this slide. He kind of hit the ground and dug himself in there, came up short, and they're going to challenge this out call at second. The headsets are coming out. That's a little Willie Mays Hayes slide.
We've seen a couple of those in this series. Souza did it the other night, and now this one from Marte.
Boy, this was looking like we'd have a nice, easy afternoon after the Ahmed grand slam, 6-1. Godley was pitching well, and I think overall Zach had a pretty good game here today.
Yeah, I think really, with the exception of a couple blips in that last start against Colorado, he's been on a really nice run for the last half dozen starts. He seems to have kind of turned his season around. This is going to be really, I think, tough to overturn here in this call. But
you need a definitive look. Yeah, Godley before today only one loss in his last 8 starts.
And even outside the 1-loss record, I mean, you started to see him be in the strike zone much more. I didn't think he threw the ball all that poorly against Colorado, really, all told. It was that error that kind of opened the floodgates in, the 6th inning of that game. But overall, I mean, he was in the strike zone much more consistently. It felt like after that, things started to unravel a little bit. But he's been very good for the last month plus.
And they can't get the call overturned. Marte is out at second. Thrown out by Schwarber. Now, as a Chicago native, what do you think of Wrigley Field and all the changes that have gone on around here the last 4 or 5 years?
I like the changes that they've made inside the ballpark for the most part. I think they've done a nice job incorporating the video boards. I think the color scheme with it matching the park is really, really nice. And some of the stuff outside is kind of cool. They've got that little lawn that's on the triangle area where Yum Yum's Donuts used to be. You would have loved Yum Yum's. I know you love donuts. But the rest of it does not have the same feel of a neighborhood that it once did. And certainly I understand. Yeah, I mean, I think when you have their
There's
big
the
offices.
area that you were, you were referring.
But right around there, there used to be just kind of like a McDonald's and a couple parking lots, and now they've turned it into a hotel, and there's offices, and I believe the Ricketts family has bought up about a whole block south on Clark Street too, and they're turning it into stuff that kind of makes baseball in this neighborhood a cottage industry. So it's changed a little bit in that regard. And listen, I can't fault them. I mean, they're trying to make as much money as they can.
Oh,
right?
I think they're going to make a whole bunch.
Yeah, they already are, I think.
Yep.
But it's nice. I mean, it's still. I think what they've done inside the ballpark. I mean, I think they've been very respectful of the way the ballpark is supposed to look, and they've done a very good job of it.
I couldn't agree more. When you're in the park, other than the video boards, really, very little appears to have changed.
I mean, you went through that growing up with Fenway, right, when they started making changes to video boards and all that, and they did a great job there, too.
They would pick one section of the ballpark and overhaul that each off-season, and then for 4 or 5 years it was ongoing, but at the end of the 5 years, you end up with this beautiful brand-new ballpark with all kinds of new amenities. And that's what they've tried to do here. Cishek just missed there. It's full on Descalso, 3-2.
The one thing that they haven't done yet is the visitors clubhouse. So
it still is awfully small and cramped in there, and not all that pleasant. But one thing at a time. This is low. Descalso is aboard again for the 3rd time today. He's singled. He's walked twice. And that'll bring up Nick Ahmed, who has doubled and hit a grand slam. I think Nick Ahmed, Mike, is becoming more and more of an offensive, I don't want to see offensive-minded player. He'll never be that. But you're really getting some production here offensively.
I think he's had, and I know he committed the error yesterday in the 8th, but I think he's had one of the best weeks that he's had defensively.
Oh, he's put on a show.
In his career. I mean, really, going back to the Colorado series, I mean, if you could win Defensive Player or Major League Baseball Player of the Week for your defense, I think Nick would have to be in the running. It's been spectacular. And listen, we're spoiled. We get to see it every day. He is, I think, if you were to talk to scouts, he'd be on that short list of best defensive shortstops in baseball. But what he's done the last week has taken his game to a whole nother level.
It's just been one highlight play after another. This is on the ground to Baez, who bobbles it, recovers. They go the short way for the force on Descalso. Our thanks to the Moral Compass, Mike Barron, host of the ever popular Snake Talk radio program. We do hope that you will join us then.
Proud. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Jack, I don't care if I ever get back for its root.
Well, the rest of that available for download on iTunes. The great Bob Brenly singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" as Anthony Rizzo grounds out to first to start the home half of the 7th. Once again, job well done.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. You know, I learned from all the guests we had in the booth over the 8 years I was here, and the advice I always gave to the singer was start low and start slow. Everybody has a tendency to start a little bit too high, and then they can't hit the notes later in the song, and they sing way too fast.
One of the great Wrigley Field traditions. And celebrities, all kinds of dignitaries go through that. Albert Almora. Yoshi Hirano back out there after striking out Bodie to end the 6th.
And I say it every time I do it here at Wrigley Field. Everybody can sing this, you know, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." It's a relatively simple song. If you're a baseball fan, you've heard it a million times, but there's something about 80,000 eyes looking at you, waiting to start that song, that makes it a little tougher to sing.
Well, Mike Farron was here, and he was outstanding. Always good to have the Moral Compass with us, filling in for you. Wilson is up in the Cub bullpen. Avila's spot due up in the 8th, and then the pitcher. 0-2 on Albert Almora Jr. Popped up. Ahmed is there. Two down for Hayward, who's 0 for 3. D-backs hanging on to a 6-4 lead. They led it 6-1 after the top of the 5th, after Nick Ahmed hit the first D-back grand slam of the season. Cubbies have answered, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. Yoshi Hirano has come in and boy, he's quieted this place down. 3 outs on 8 pitches so far. Bases clear, 2 down for Hayward. I got some great pictures of you doing that, by the way, since we're right next door.
Yeah.
I'll text them to you. But you've done that. I mean, it's always a thrill, I'm sure, but you've done it so many times now. It's kind of old hat for you, isn't it?
It always feels like the first time.
I bet it does. There's 38,000 people looking up at you, and you have to sing to them. It's a little nerve-wracking.
We always did it as a group, Len and myself and the WGN Comcast crew next door. And then if a celebrity maybe didn't show up, or there was a rain delay in the second inning of an hour and 45 minutes and the celebrity decided to beat feet and go somewhere else, I got to pinch hit a few times for some big timers.
Talk about the understudy. It's like you go to see Rochelle the musical and there's no Bette Midler. You get Bob Brenly instead.
Woo, I want my money back.
3-1 on Hayward. Broken bat roller to Marte at second. Boy, Yoshi comes in, faces 4 batters, gets 4 outs, gets us to the 8th with a 6-4 lead. Win the series here, take 3 of 4 from the Cubs, and the big hit in the ball game today, right here, Nick Ahmed. A grand slam in the 5th inning. 408 feet, our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game. The first D-back grand slam of the year and the first of Nick's career. D-backs led it 6-1. It's now 6-4 as left-hander Justin Wilson is on to open up the 8th inning.
Boy, it's frightening to think how far that Nick Ahmed home run might have gone had the wind been blowing straight out to left field. He had to hit that through that crosswind and still hit it 408 feet.
Yeah, it got it 3/4 of the way up the bleachers there. It looked like it went a lot farther than 408. So Avila leads it off. Pitcher spot up next. Chris Owings in the on-deck circle. Then it'll be David Peralta. Alex hit a 2-run homer in the 4th, his 5th of the year. Wilson's got some big strikeout numbers, as you saw, 56 punch-outs in less than 40 innings. This will back up Almora in center, and he's got it on the warning track. Here's CO. Owings hits for Hirano. 199, 3 homers. He singled in his start at third base yesterday. D-backs have out-hit the Cubs 8-7. They lead at 6-4. Fastball in for a strike. Chris 4 for 18 as a pinch hitter this year. Archie Bradley, who just was flat out dominant here the other night, will get the bottom of the 8th. Cubs will have Contreras, Happ, and Schwarber due up 4, 5, and 6. One and 2.
Archie Bradley came in the ball game the other night, 96, 97, consistently just pounding away.
Worked 1 1/3, struck out 3 of the first 3 of the 4 he faced. Got out of a bases loaded mess in the 7th and worked a 1, 2, 3, 8. Struck out Almora, Hayward, and Happ.
Interesting foul ball there. That's a common occurrence here at Wrigley Field. When it goes up on the roof of the stadium above the upper deck, occasionally it will hit the light standards and roll back down the roof. So the regulars here at Wrigley Field know when a foul ball goes up top to wait until you see if it comes back down. You see the Diamondbacks jerseys right there. Those two gentlemen, they've had several foul balls right in the vicinity, but the Cub fans always jump in front of them and take it away.
Yeah, they're in a good spot right there.
Real good spot.
Upper deck, just behind the D-back on deck circle. There's a bouncer to short. Baez out there moving around. Looks like pretty good on that knee. 2 down in the 8th. David Peralta now. David has singled twice. He's 2 for 4. So he's now hit safely in 5 straight. That one's headed to the other side.
David's homered 4 times this year against left-handed pitching. He looks like he's about to take off on a run. He might get Wilson right here if he hangs one. 95 up and out over the plate.
They homered off Justin Wilson when we were in Detroit not too long ago. Oh, and 2. Punch the other way for Schwarber. He's got it into the wall. Archie Bradley on his way in with a 6-4 lead. summary. D-backs with 6 runs, all on homers. A 2-run shot by Alex Avila, and a grand slam by Nick Ahmed. D-backs led it 6-1. It's now 6-4. Yoshi Hirano got all 4 batters he faced in relief of Zach Godley, and now Archie Bradley is out there to start the 8th.
Right into the deep end of the pool. Wilson Contreras, Ian Happ, and Kyle Schwarber in this inning for Archie Bradley.
Chris Owings will replace Daniel Descalso at 3rd. Owings will bat 9th, pitcher spot 6th for the Diamondbacks. Don't forget they had to have Jake Lamb leave the game earlier with a left shoulder contusion. So Owings, the third baseman of the ball game. Here's Contreras, the catcher. 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 2nd. Archie dominated in his relief appearance here Tuesday night. Got out of a 2-out bases loaded mess in the 7th and worked a 1-2-3/8. He struck out 3 of the 4 batters he faced, got 4 outs on 19 pitches. Ahead of Contreras 1-2. Bring him up.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Well, we saw a pitch like that in the 1st inning for the Cubs when Wilson Contreras was set up on the inside corner and reached across the plate.
I don't know what Mike Estabrook's looking at. Oh boy, now he hit him. Well, that's all right.
I think Archie's hearing some barking out of that 3rd base dugout.
This is the previous pitch.
Oh man.
Snuck it back in there, hit the corner beautifully. That should have been strike 3 in the 1st out. Alex still talking about that with Mike Estabrook.
Happens every day. Sometimes it goes by with no damage done. This time Contreras takes it off the right forearm as that fastball tailed up and in.
So now Archie with nobody out has the tying run at the plate. It's Ian Happ. Three defenders on the right side of the infield for the Diamondbacks. Fastball's a strike, 0-1. Happ 0 for 3. He's got 12 homers this year, switch hitter, 9 of them coming from the left-hand side. All right. 0-2. Like you said, you were trying your best when you were in Toronto.
Yeah. There we go.
Got him with a high fastball.
Just rushes him upstairs right here. I don't know if we've seen Archie throw a breaking ball yet in this series. Just rearing back and overpowering Cubs hitters with that 4-seam fastball.
He's been in fastball mode. Here's a dangerous hitter, Kyle Schwarber, who has singled, doubled. He's got an RBI. He's scored a run. And Schwarber can be a patient hitter. He actually leads the Cubs in walks this year. Pitcher spot is up next. Ben Zobrist in the on-deck circle. Fastball is low.
What you said is absolutely correct about Schwarber and his ability and willingness to take walks, but down by 2 with the wind blowing out to right field, I don't think he's looking to walk right here.
Three infielders on the first base side. Archie's got it. They go to second for 1, and they roll the double play. We hit the 9th at Wrigley. It's 6-4 Diamondbacks. at Wrigley Field. They lead at 6-4 as we start the 9th inning. Don't forget, fans, be at Chase Field for our annual alumni game coming up next Saturday, August 4. It's presented by Sanderson Ford. This year's alumni game festivities start at 2 o'clock before the 20th anniversary pregame celebration, honoring the 16 members of our 20th anniversary team. The D-backs and the Giants game then starts at 5. For all the details and get your tickets, dbacks.com/alumni.
Yeah, who doesn't want to come out and watch J.J. Putz run the bases?
I didn't want to do that when he was playing. Commissioner Brenly will be on hand. Eddie Butler starts the 9th.
A couple of add-on runs would not hurt a thing here in the top half of the 9th inning.
Well, Goldie will lead it off. Then it's A.J. Pollock and Steven Souza Jr. 2, 3, and 4 in the Diamondback 9th inning. Goldie 0 for 2. He has walked twice and scored a run today. Broken bat, and that's foul. The bat goes all the way out to shortstop. Boy, right down the middle on that barrel.
Yeah, we saw Nick Ahmed break a bat that hit off the cupped end. That one hit down near the hands and just split that bat all the way through the length of the barrel all the way out to the end.
Tony Perez-Chica is going to be getting those slivers out of his fingers on a plane to San Diego. Brad Boxberger, the closer, warming up in the bullpen. Cubs will have the pitcher spot. Baez and Bodie due up 7, 8, 9 in the home half of the 9th. 2-1 to Goldie. Butler's got a pretty good sinker. That's what the Rockies liked about him when they drafted him in the first round. Baez at shortstop. Here's AJ. 0 for 3 with a walk.
I'd like to see AJ leave the Cubs with a lovely parting gift.
Homered here yesterday against John Lester for the only D-back run. How about that? Go Hoosiers. There's one for Josh Rawitsch.
A Kyle Schwarber fan there. Yeah, he played at Indiana.
Cubs drafted Schwarber out of IU. Schwarber was actually the 4th overall pick in the draft 4 years ago. Jammed him, pop up, Happ at third. Two down for Souza. Oh, and 2. Butler's got the slider going one way, the changeup dropping the other way.
Yeah, hard changeup too at 87 that last pitch.
Up the middle and into center. Steven Souza Jr. his second hit today. Now a chance for Ketel Marte.
I do have to say that the guys next door weren't real hospitable.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, Jim DeShays at one point pointed out that this is the 39th, yesterday actually, was the 39th anniversary of being involved in 2 triple plays in one game. I was the base runner on both of them.
Oh boy, they set you up.
They really did. And they had to go back to yesterday, for crying out loud.
That's lame.
What's really sad is that was 39 years ago. Oh my God.
Those punks. That's like one of those shows, you know, where they used to do those shows where they play tricks on guys and catch the whole thing on
camera. Show up for free tickets for the ball game and then they arrest everybody. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness there were no police.
Yeah, I was on base twice in a California League game. Fresno Giants against the Lodi Dodgers. Both times on second base. Once was a line drive that turned into a 6-4-3 double play. The other time a 5-4-3 around the horn double play. Triple play, excuse me.
So basically you went over there and you got punked like the old MTV show.
Absolutely.
Where's Ashton Kutcher?
I don't know. Didn't see him anywhere around. Although Jim DeShays, if he had hair, would look a little bit like
shots fired. 2-0 on Marte. Pitcher spot up next. John Jay's in the on-deck circle. That's going to reach the seats.
I'll tell you one thing Jim DeShays did say. We were talking about Nick Ahmed at length and his defense and what he's done in this series and the grand slam home run. And Jimmy D said, were you surprised by the home run? I had to tell him no. Nick's a different hitter this year than he's been in the past. But J.D. drew what he thought was a good comparison. You remember Adam Everett, a shortstop for the Houston Astros?
Yeah, sure.
Tremendous defender, very underrated defender unless you watched him every day. And JD said he would lean into one every now and then and hit it 450 feet.
Did you ask him if he was scuffing the ball like the rest of those Astros?
No. I don't think JD did. He came after all those cheaters.
Boy, I'm a little nervous about next year. Could get ugly.
Jim DeShays' claim to fame was the fact that he could throw an 84-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the strike zone and guys couldn't hit it.
Why not?
Invisible. That's what he used to call it, the invisible. It's right there and you go to swing at it and it's gone. It was just his style of pitching. He was a top of the strike zone guy with his fastball and did so very successfully.
3-1 on Marte. A single and a walk with 2 outs. A chance now for John Jay. Hits in the pitcher's spot. That's the 9th walk drawn by D-backs hitters today.
Yeah, second in the game for Marte, and he didn't even start.
6 of them by the starter Tyler Chatwood. So Jay hitting in the pitcher's spot. 273 and 3 homers. Jumps on the first one, hits it foul down the line. John sat out yesterday's game. Brad Boxberger ready in the bullpen. Happ is over there near the seats, but it's out of play. 0-2.
The Diamondbacks did have a game earlier this season when they drew 10 base on balls against the Dodgers, but that was a 15-inning game.
I remember that one. That was like the 4th game of the year.
I'll tell you, if he wanted to, Steven Souza Jr. could steal third base so easily right now. The Cubs middle infielders are split wide apart. They're giving him as much of a lead out there as he wants, but you've got a pinch hitter at the plate. You don't want to risk getting thrown out and taking the bat out of John Jay's hand and burning a player for no reason.
Jay hits it to left center. Almora was shaded over there, and he's got it So here we go. It's 6-4, bottom 9. Brad Boxberger on his way in. On to work the bottom of the 9th inning. Diamondbacks a chance to take 3 of 4 in this series from the first place Cubs. You see the numbers on Brad this year, 24 for 28 in his save opportunities. He'll face the lower third of the Cub order, although Zobrist will hit in the pitcher's spot, then Baez, and then the rookie Bodie. So not certainly your standard 7, 8, 9 hitters for the D-back closer here. We saw Brad work 1 inning in Tuesday's game. It was a non-save situation. He struck out the side. He got Schwarber, got Russell, and then got somebody else.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, him.
I would help you out, but
yeah,
my scorecard is not good right now.
Here's Zobrist, 292 and 6 homers. He's got a couple of singles in the series. D-backs have the shift on against Zobrist. He's a switch hitter. All 6 of his homers coming as a left-hand batter. Two and one.
And we talked about Ben Zobrist being a switch hitter and having a completely different setup from the left side and the right side. I was trying to remember who this reminds me of from the left side. That one fouled off over near the Diamondbacks dugout. A couple of years ago, Yasmani Grandal was doing a similar thing, kind of hunching his shoulders and tucking his chin in underneath his right shoulder and then dropping down and driving at the pitch. It reminds me a little bit of that.
Owings and Lamb switch places now, or Owings and Ahmed switch places in the shift. Here's the 2-2. Full count. Baez, second in the league at RBIs, is on deck. He would be the tying run should Zobrist reach. Right there. Borderline strike, didn't get the call from Mike Estabrook. So here comes the tying run, Javi Baez. Reached on a strikeout and a wild pitch. See those 74 RBIs, trailing only a Eugenio Suarez for the league lead. He's trying to tie it up with one swing.
It's a little bit of a scary matchup only because Brad Boxberger throws so many strikes. We've talked about Baez throughout this series. You do not need to throw him a strike to get him out.
Oh, and 2.
Well, if he throws him a changeup in that same spot, he'd screw himself into the ground.
Looks like fastball coming, though.
Yeah, fastball away.
This did get a piece. He's got him set up if he wants to go there. You just got to be sure about the location. Baez leads the Cubs, 109 hits. Almost half of those have been for extra bases. Here it comes.
That's a good pitch right there. That's exactly the location. Maybe a little bit farther away from Baez to try to tempt him to swing at it, but you definitely don't want to throw that changeup in the strike zone when you've got an 0-2 count in your favor.
He doesn't want the fastball, he wants the changeup. He did screw himself into the ground. Just got a piece, though.
They always take such a big, vicious swing. You see that circle change grip, turns it over a little bit, has some fading action down and in, and Baez was trying to hit that one to Evanston.
Pokes it to right center. AJ's there, one away. David Bodie. Rookie second baseman called up from AAA Iowa today when Chris Bryant went back on the DL with that left shoulder problem. Singled and scored in the 5th, 1 for 3. There's the Cubs star, Chris Bryant. Left shoulder inflammation on the DL for the 2nd time this month. Fastball's a strike, 0-1. Got that fastball up and in. Fly ball, deep left center field, and this game is tied. David Bodie, his 2nd career major league homer, and it's 6-6.
We got him to swing through a high fastball on the inside part of the plate. Tried to come back in there again. This time it was down around the knees, and Bodie golfs it out of here to left field. You mentioned Chris Bryant with that shoulder injury going back on the disabled list. I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if the Cubs are confident enough in David Bodie to just ride with the youngster down there at third, play him a little at second, whatever the case may be, or would the Cubs feel like they need to go out and get some reinforcements?
Mike Butcher out to the mound. Blown save for Boxberger. And now he'll deal with Anthony Rizzo. Still just one out in the ninth. Andrew Chafin starts to get loose. Shift is on for Rizzo. Man, change up well off the plate, but Mike Estabrook says strike one. Brad Boxberger, among closers in the National League with at least 20 save opportunities, has now given up 7 homers. That's the most in the league. Rizzo has singled twice. He's got an RBI. And there it goes. Ball game.
We were just talking earlier in the ball game about Anthony Rizzo, and it looked like his swing has changed a little bit, not really trying to drive the ball. Boy, did he drive that one.
Rizzo only 1 home run in his last 37 games. It's the walk-off winner, and the Cubs salvage a 4-game split. They win the finale 7-6, and they snatch this one away from the Diamondbacks. More from Wrigley after this.